Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing With Sleezy, the podcast. This is episode 16. I want to appreciate everybody listening. Thank you for listening to episode 15. I had Mr. Casey Jones on. That episode got a lot of feedback. We talked about eBay and flipping. So hope everybody learned some from that and maybe made some money. I got episode 16 here today. I got two very special guests. We go way back. My boy Brandon Cason and Tremain Wilson. Tremain and I go probably back all the way to freshman year, maybe middle school almost, and then Brandon Cason and I, we've been knowing each other since J-Town High School. So both of these guys, great guys, they have their own podcast too as well, and I've wanted to have them on the show because not only just to talk, and they're my boys, but also to talk the sport of basketball, which pretty much brought us all together. Basketball is very important to me. Clearly it's important to Brandon and Tremain, not only as like playing in the past, but also as fans. So I want to welcome you guys to the show. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man.
Doing good. Yeah, real good. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing us on. It means a lot to both of us. Definitely me, because I know how hard you work on your podcast, the time you put in, and you really bring on some good people. So I'm honored, to be able to do the podcast with you today, man.
Thanks, bro. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I basically been just started this in March and wanted to see where this could go, and I can't believe it's gone to where it's gone. But everybody that has been on the show, I really appreciate you, and again want to thank everybody that has came on. But hopefully got some better future guests coming on that from the standpoint, when I say better, not better from anybody else, but just I keep having great guests. That's the thing that I put the most pressure on. So all my guests that have been on the show from this one all the way back have been tremendous and amazing, but I hope I keep bringing that to you all, and I hope you all are proud as fans to listen to the podcast. So I want to just keep improving, and I want to keep booking it. So everybody that has been on the show has killed it, been an amazing guest, and I'm thankful and blessed. But I hope I can continue bringing you all people that you want to listen to and you enjoy, and I think I will. I think I will.
How hard is it, though? How hard is it to get guests?
To be honest, booking guests is the hardest thing about doing this.
There goes the thing with you, and to let everybody know, Sleaze can do it. You talented. You can do things. You can talk. You can hold your own when it comes to talking.
I appreciate it.
A lot of people you have conversations with that can't talk. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start a conversation with them, but you can go on. You like a natural. So
I appreciate it.
I know sometimes you hear about like it's hard to get a lot of guests and stuff on, but you can hold a show on your own.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate that, and I've actually thought about sometimes like when I've had issues booking a guest, there's been a schedule conflict. Hey, maybe I'll just do an episode solo and see what happens.
Right.
But another thing I've been kind of working on, I haven't announced. I've been writing a lot of my short stories of all the crazy shit I've done in my life, and when I say that is basically what I want to eventually do. It's not like I'm trying to put out a New York. I mean, if it does go as a bestseller, that'd be awesome. But I just want to start document all these stories. I keep getting told, man, you got all these crazy stories and experiences, just write them down. Right. So I've been trying to do that on the side, and I want to eventually put that into like some kind of book because I think people would enjoy just kind of the stuff that's happened. Yeah. But I really appreciate you saying that, and the hardest thing about doing the podcast is booking guests. Yeah. And like the main thing is every guest that has been on in the past podcast, the only issues I've ever had is just scheduling, trying to make sure they're good. But everyone that has been on the show has brought their A game. I've been very impressed. Everybody that's brought it has been nothing but nice, loyal, and just promoted their show, but also promoted other shows. Going back to what I was saying, I just want to keep bringing great guests. I say like better and better and better, just like I want the best guest on here, and then hopefully that people see that. And that's why like in the past 16 episodes it's been trying to pick who I want, but then it's like each person I picked I've realized is completely different individually. All the way up to this episode has been literally someone different. You got Eddie on the show. Eddie's a whole different personality than from Psychic Page. Then you have Sarah on the show, but she might be different than what she brings than the spicy chip that Aaron did. So those kind of things that
Frankie,
trying to bring.
Frankie was one of my favorites.
Frankie did great. I thought Frankie has actually been a big supporter. He's been one of the people pushing for it. A lot of people that I've had on, some have even been guest suggestions. Like I had somebody DM me to tell me about the psychic, and so the psychic was a brand new person that I met, Paige. Shout out to Paige. And when I had her on, it was like she shows up, like you guys. We go way back. We can talk about anything. When it's someone brand new, even though you do some research, you're a little sweaty. You're kind of like, oh shit, like what we gonna talk about? But once it's done and the flow happens, it's natural. So. Talk to me about y'all's podcast. What was the thing y'all started? What is the name of y'all's?
That's the weird thing about. That's why I said you're now. I think before I get into the podcast, but I think you're so good. You're gonna be good. You're gonna go far in this because of it's real. You know, you are who you are. You're just recording it now, and you can, visualize it.
I don't bullshit. Like that's the main thing. Like I'm the same person no matter what.
That's why it's easy. It's gonna be easy for you. And then when it comes to me and Tremain's podcast, we just we just decided to record what we do on
our chemistry is crazy. Like we notice, like when we off camera and stuff we talk about and debate about. We was like, sometimes we should just put this on camera. Yeah. And don't worry about trying to take notes and do this or that or try to be scripted. Yeah. Just be natural and raw with it.
Exactly. Yeah. And being natural and raw with it is the main thing that people want. We were actually, when you all first got here, we were just bullshitting, catching up, and I had Adam 22 on No Jumper podcast. He was actually interviewing Lil Durk, and I'm a big hip hop fan, so I love hearing any rapper's story about the come up. And so Lil Durk was telling some really interesting things. But Adam 22 is someone that I actually kind of modeled my podcast off of. I don't want to be No Jumper. I want to be my own brand, Vibing With Sleezy. But I want to have it where you come in, we just shoot the shit, we keep it real. There's no like beating around the bush. Now I do keep some things out of the podcast, like names. Even on some stories that maybe somebody doesn't want to be associated with, but it's at the same time a lot of people that I've had either on the show or I've been talking about, I'll say their name and they'll be like, man, I appreciate that. So I always try to like either shout people out. So that's why I guess in the beginning of this podcast I just want to thank all my past guests again, because it's like each guest gave this a shot. They didn't have to. They could have been like, oh, this dude wants to start some podcast, I guess I'll get on. But like Paul Cody Travelstead. The Weird Fam guy, his brand is taken off so tremendously just because of all the work he's pushed on it. Him being on my show was not only a blessing for listeners' downloads, but he just brought his A game, and he also too was somebody that just like knew. I know he had a following. I know he knew I was having a following with this, and it both helped us. But we also got to know each other, and it was like it was somebody brand new. So all the guests have just been great and unique.
That's the thing, like as far as you go, you're gonna be fine because you've built so many relationships with so many people, and that's one thing I can say about you. Even like, because let's be real, in the beginning, I did not like you.
Yeah, I didn't like you either.
I did not, and it wasn't nothing personal. And Tremain, you could tell how, because I don't know how y'all two. You and Tremain even.
We actually Tremain. Well, I got a story to bring with Tremain.
Well, before I tell my story, you should. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of the way. Me and you didn't like each other. Yeah. We knew each other.
We knew each other.
But I knew you before you even got to J-Town because I seen you a couple of times in middle school. And you went to Myers in 6th grade.
I went to Myers, and we played you all. Yeah, but we played you all at Carruthers, right?
I didn't play for Carruthers. I was bad. My 6th grade year, I was like so bad. My 6th grade year, in 4th grade, I lost my dad. So I went kind of like. My stepfather, who is I call my real dad, I went crazy, man. Like I was just bad in school. I didn't have, no discipline or nothing like that. So I didn't start playing basketball until 8th grade at the community center. I didn't start playing basketball until 8th grade. So I thought I wasn't good, but I was just I was. Yeah, you were. I didn't. So I was scared. Like I seen people in middle school. Even Tremain was really good. We see people in middle school that we thought, man, we could never be as good as them, and we really was. I was just scared, and we didn't have the resources like everybody else to, somebody dads around to get us on basketball teams or tell us to go try out. So I was bad, man. I was running around Mars causing chaos.
Well, Myers was a school that, to be honest with you, Myers makes people who they were. I know it's done. Rest in peace to Myers. Shout out to Myers Middle School. Like everybody that Myers was a great time. But the thing about Myers is, I really do think people that went there, it made you the person you are, because not only like at that point, everybody was cool with each other. There was no cliques. Everybody knew everybody, and also too, it was kind of competitive in middle school from the standpoint of and politics were big involved. I'm not talking about politics like governor. I'm talking about politics of favoritism. People already being set up, molded into this thing, and you kind of had to break those barriers down. Like the 6th grade team I had at Myers, for example. 32 guys on the roster. That's absolutely crazy. I started, luckily, thank God. But we had guys on the team that shouldn't even been on the team. Right. I mean, I had a guy. We were up by 20, and we were playing during 6th grade. See, 7th, 8th grade. Like for people that are listening in Louisville, 7th and 8th grade is technically the varsity of middle school basketball, and then every middle school has a 6th grade team, even at private schools. So private schools would actually play public schools in 6th grade because not enough roster spots. Not every school did have a 6th grade team. So we'd be playing St. Martha, blowing those guys out by 20. But then they put in some of the guys off the bench, and you got one guy shooting on the wrong basket. I got my one buddy who, shout out to him, still friends with him, cool dude. I'm not going to embarrass him, but he gets the ball, starts just dribbling down the wrong side of the court, and we're up by 20, and I'm like, this is wild. But the thing about it is, that's your boy. Like everybody, so we're all laughing about having a good time. But when you get to 7th and 8th grade, it started becoming so competitive. And the thing about, I'm glad you brought up middle school, and before we get into the story about how we interacted in Tremain, middle school basketball in Louisville, people don't realize that 7th and 8th grade was nuts. The competition level was insane. There was one school.
I wasn't even playing, and I knew who was on.
It was a battle, and it was TT Knight was Myers' rival, and TT Knight's school is actually built exactly like Myers. So if you took TT Knight's blueprint, Myers, but they're in the South End. We're over in Hikes Point. So it's like a 30-minute drive, but we play each other 2 or 3 times. And for some reason, 7th, 8th grade year, we always pull TT Knight in the first round. But Carithers was the other rival. And Carithers, it was a battle. But see, I played high school ball as well. You did too. Yeah. But the thing about high school ball, it was fun. There's way bigger crowds, of course, more publicity and anything. But middle school, I'm talking, it was battlegrounds. Yeah. I remember going to Southern Middle School playing them, and there'd be people pulling on your shorts when you're running. People, Carithers, people are right on the floor, people talking shit, yelling, and it's like, damn, I'm in 8th grade. But to be honest with you, it made me a better basketball player, and also, too, it made me super competitive. The thing about it is, talking about J-Town before we met sophomore year, other people that didn't like me because of basketball, Taco, D, and Barry Moore, who are my boys today, all 3 of them could not stand me. And I'll never forget, I played basketball for Seneca freshman year. Coach Marles, he was emailing with me some stuff. We were talking, and he was like, you're transferring to J-Town, Nick said. And I was like, well, yeah. I said, for location, also play basketball, baseball. I know some people, but I was like, Seneca's been a blast, but I just feel like I can have better opportunities at J-Town with sports and everything. So I come over, first day of summer league. There's D's dad with Taco, Barry, and D in the car, and Coach Marles like, yeah, everybody's roster's full. Who wants to take new guy Clark, Eric Clark here? So D's dad's like, yeah, I'll take him. D's dad don't got a problem with it. I get in the car. D's in the passenger seat. Taco and Barry make me sit in the middle, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in this little small car, maybe a Buick Regal, and I'm just sitting there in the middle, and I'm looking at him, and I was like,
probably that Pontiac.
And I was like, TT Knight all in this car. Holy shit! I dropped 21 on these guys 8th grade year. I was like, Barry is just looking at me. I was like, I guarded Barry each time. Yeah. So D turns around. First thing he looks at me. You like rap music? I said, yeah, I do, D. I said, I do. And he was like, good. Turns it up. So we're riding, and Taco looks at me. Taco's like, where'd you come from? And then the thing about it is, it's hilarious about this. 2 years later, those guys are my best friends, and me and D to this day are close. So I'll start with Tremain first, and then we'll dive into me and you, our little rivalry before we became brothers. But Tremain and I,
in middle school, I wasn't.
Tremain and I were always cool as shit.
I was too busy getting suspended.
And Tremain and I were always cool. But the thing about this, Tremain, and I'll ask you if you remember this. So we're playing at Seneca, and it's bro, we're trying out. We're trying to get on that team freshman year and all this stuff. They're having all these crazy tryouts. Everybody's trying to go, and you, me, Justin Marks, like Quentin, a couple other people, we're all just like chilling in the bleachers, like waiting for varsity to be done. Then we're going out for our, we got fives to run and all this stuff. And out of nowhere, number one, the Seneca coaching staff, Coach Branch was a G. He knew what he's doing. He led the pro. They already won the LIT before the Louisville Invitational, but his JV freshman, it was questionable. These guys he had coaching. I mean, one guy, my freshman coach, I'm talking, I don't. Like I said, it's a podcast. Let's have fun. His breath was hot, and I'm talking like, and I remember he put so much pressure on me and put pressure on you because we were so tall. Yeah. And the thing about it is, you and I were really tall compared to like a lot of the guys we were playing with. But I just remember me, you, and Justin Marks.
Hold on a second. Hold on, wasn't James Dean on the team?
Yeah, he was on the team.
I got a question. Why is the expectations for tall people so high?
It is because people think they can. Everybody thinks they can mold a tall player into this future superstar. Like we're gonna be the future Bill Russell or the future Karl Malone. But the thing about it is, we were just long, and but the thing about it was, they just put us down the post. The thing, the game has evolved since when we were there because
every time you go to the park or something and you tall, you go through the lane.
And you're a target.
You're a target to get fouled, but if you don't dunk, what happens?
You're soft. You're soft, and hey, hit the gym.
At that time, big man was important back then. In our time, the big man, power forward, center, it's gone away so long in this league.
Yeah.
That's no longer.
But we weren't allowed. But you and I, and even Brandon playing at that time, even when I met Brandon sophomore year, we weren't allowed to go pull up for three like DeMarcus Cousins or AD. Thing about it was stay in the paint. Maybe the farthest we come up is to the free throw line in the mid play, just to have the mid range or dump a pass off. But I evolved to it. I tried to adapt to it, and I did. It was fun. But the thing about it is, you and I just remember being in the gym, and we had all these guys, and then. Shout out to him. He's my boy, Ricardo Lusco. But I remember Ricardo came in and coaches were like, "Oh man, this guy's got handled." Everybody talking about politics. Everybody's like, Ricardo, like, and I'm like, I'm over here like, hey, I'm the center down here, like, so so we're all like, I just remember there was just like we'd all be hanging on the bleachers watching, like goofing around, and then we go play. I just felt like Seneca. It was just more fun. It was just like having a good time. Even Calvaron Jones was on that team.
Calvaron, but we knew Calvaron from the hood.
Calvaron gave me my nickname Buzzy B in middle school.
Yeah, when I played at J-Town, I knew. I said Tremain on there. You was on there. I was like, they got a squad. Calvaron and Kid. I was like. They got a squad over there.
Calvaron, man, I'll tell you what, that dude, me and him had such a hate love. We messed with each other, give each other shit, but we were always on the team. We played together in Myers. We were boys in Myers, and then we get to Seneca. We're on the same team, but it's like he made me better. It was almost kind of like a Paul Gasol, Kobe Bryant relationship. Yeah, right. I'm playing center. If I miss a layup, if I foul, what are you doing? What are you doing, Buzz? Like and then I'm looking at him like, don't turn over the ball, and it's like it was just because we wanted to make each other better. But I remember at Seneca, I ended up breaking out the knee-high socks. I wanted to be like something different. Seneca had no restrictions on what you could wear. You could wear knee-high socks. I sometimes throw a headband. I probably look like Brad Miller that used to play in the NBA because I had a beard so young. But the thing about it is, once I get to J-Town, whole different culture, serious as hell. I remember I put a headband on once. Tomorrow I was like, hey, you don't need to be wearing a headband. It's just like you had such a different feel, and I think that's even changed as well. But you and I, though, me and Tremain have gone way back. And
was y'all in any classes together or anything?
We actually just talked in the hall and
in the hallway,
we don't. I mean, the thing about it is, after school at Seneca, everybody would either go to the gym or just hang out front.
Like y'all didn't have no classes, 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
No.
Like lunch? Not even lunch?
Lunch probably.
Lunch, hallway, and after school. Those are the main thing.
And the thing about Myers was everybody fucked with everybody. So like there was literally at Myers, I didn't see a lot of fights. I just saw more of like disciplinary shit, lighting the trash cans on fire. These two dudes, Ian and Jeremy, these crazy dudes were drinking alcohol in the front of the school. They get caught throwing up in the bathroom. They're like, what's going on? The principal, I just remember Mr. Ellis, assistant principal, he's always running down the hall because something's crazy going on. But But we had a home ec class in Myers in the front. In 8th grade year, they sell cookies for $1. Cookies were fucking fire. So everybody's just chilling up there, eating the cookies, hanging out. So you would just network with people, like I guess you would say, but you didn't think about it then. Like you didn't realize in middle school, I'd still be like 15 years from now, we'd be chilling here doing a podcast. You know, you just don't remember that. So Brandon, I'll tell you how I remember it. Like when I came to J-Town and like you and I kind of started getting linked up, and we'll see if our stories are similar. So what I remember was, I know you're on the team, I'm on the team, and I remember one day
I didn't like you.
You didn't like me, and we're talking mad shit to each other, and you're like, "Let's play one-on-one. Let's play one-on-one."
I was ready to get it.
And the reason why I think you and I would have became a lot cooler and a lot closer quicker if it wasn't for Javon. And shout out to Javon. Javon was an instigator.
He was.
He was an instigator.
I forgot about Jay Woods.
Jay Hill and Javon were always instigating
Jay
shit.
Woods just,
he would always instigate shit. And see, me and Javon, we had kicked it like through Nick like the summer before. So me and Javon already hooped together, knew each other. So
hold on, let's get them a good understanding.
Yeah,
Sleazy is a sophomore.
Yeah.
At the time I met him, I was a sophomore, but my freshman year,
y'all went undefeated too.
We went undefeated, but I was talking like this is how cool he is. But then like, and people at J-Town are cool because I was a freshman and I was hanging out with juniors and seniors my freshman year. Yeah. That was like showing me, you know, someone was like just showing me the ropes of sports, but then again, just showing me the goal. Like,
if I didn't know some of these older guys, to be honest with you, people would look back and be like, "Damn, you all were mean to each other. We'd be roasting each other, going hard at each other." But here's the thing: it made me the man I am today.
Yeah,
all the roast sessions, everything I've gone through and seen, even like fights, anything made me the man I am.
I remember being told by like Rayshawn Walker and Frank and like those older guys. They would tell me like, "Look, you know, you can go to these parties and stuff, but make sure when you go to these parties, you're not drinking or none of that. Like, cause we was
don't
young,
fuck up."
But I didn't.
Yeah.
Like when
until our senior, we did not live it up until our senior year.
Right.
Like,
we would go to parties, but we did not drink. Like people, when we went to,
but people respected you. People respected you.
When we walked in parties, what would have people would be like, "Nah, they on the basketball team.
Yeah.
Don't let." Like, we're going to make sure they straight.
And the thing about it is you could have been a bench player, a role player, or you could have been a starter.
That was
and it's
what
like,
was crazy about playing for J-Town. Is like, when you in the city of J-Town, you got treated like you played for U of L.
Well, you also, in the back of your mind, no matter what, you had the wrath of Jeff Morrow that you knew would be making you run laps if you messed up.
We had the student support was crazy. Like, we had people who didn't play basketball that would have our backs in crazy situations. I didn't mean to bring it up, but it's just like...
No, you're right. It's the thing about J-Town was everybody was cool. Everybody that played different sports knew everybody.
Cool. Yeah.
And also, too, every coach would hold you accountable. Yeah. Like, even though, like, I'd say Scott Fleur was a lot laid back, the baseball coach, he wouldn't want you to get in trouble. Like, they were strict when we go to Florida. There was rules. Like, it's not that it wasn't fun. It was rules. You just knew. You had to play your lane, and you had to know, like, you also... But the thing that's crazy is... There could be a kid, and I'm not saying I wanted that or like I thought it was cool, but there could have been a kid that was already drinking, maybe doing pills, maybe smoking weed. I'm laughing with him in class, chilling, we're goofing around, but I know once we leave school, it's a whole different life. And that's the thing about public school, like, not to bring up, I don't know, this just came to my head. Jack Harlow has a song called River Road, and there's a line he says in the song, because he went to Atherton, and he's talking about how, you know, we all know JCPS. You could live 30 minutes from the school, but with busing and everything, everybody meets. So that's why I feel like, and I don't care, it's my opinion. I'm kind of against private school because I feel like with public school, I might not have got the best education that maybe a St. X Trinity would give me, but the thing about it is it made me the man I am. I know life skills. I know how to interact with anybody of any culture. We had over 30 foreign exchange students like through the 4 years. You had so many opportunities at J-Town. You just had to take advantage. And also too, you know, I like Jeff Morrow. He was a great coach, great person. Still know him to this day. You work for his program. Coach was great from the standpoint of he's strict, he's hard on us, everything. But the thing about it is, he'd look out for you, keep you in line, you know, make sure you're fed, make sure that, you know, you got the right classes. I remember he got me, you know, helped me out kind of getting into the school there my sophomore year. So, you know, it's just, there was good teachers, good faculty, but also, too, we just had cool people we went with. Like, it was just fun.
When you said Javon, that's what brought out, like, we was young. Javon was older than us. Javon was a junior. He was a junior that year, and when he was winging us as sophomores, but I knew him my freshman year. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was in that practice with me, so it's like, I was cool with all these older guys who, what I would call big brother. That's how they was. They was
Jesse
like,
Hills was my big brother. Javon's my brother. Big Dow, who I've known since 6th grade, he give me so much shit. Him, Rashad, rest in peace to Cam. They be messing with me, giving me shit. But the thing about it is, at that time, I'm giving it back. I'm throwing ball. You know, we're throwing basketball at each other, goofing around. The thing about it is, at that time, I'm like, man, fuck those guys. Why are they talking shit? But then I'm like, man, now we're super cool. And I'm like, they were just doing it. Was just out of respect. You would only roast somebody if you deep down respected them and you were cool with them. You would you wouldn't be doing it just like, if you did it just to be mean to somebody you didn't know, that's a whole different thing. You and I, though, Javon would instigate it. I think even Dale Easley would watch our battles, and you and I would go one-on-one. And the thing about it is, I remember our game. You beat me 24-16. I do remember the score. And I'm talking like, you were hyped. You were like, let's go. But then the funny thing about it is, we be going at it, and then we sit over the bench and kind of watch that varsity their sophomore year. And then remember when Thomas Coleman dunked on Dominique Tilford when he came back in practice? Dominique Tilford was Mr. Basketball. He's not doing well now, but he was killing it back then. High school, he even went to Cincinnati and another school in Alabama. But basically, I just remember I always loved watching varsity because I'm like, I'm gonna get better. I like watching these guys play. We were the best team in the whole state. We won the state that year. But it's like, we're watching, and out of nowhere, it's like Dominique's just guarding, talking shit to all the guys, like. And Thomas Coleman just dunks on him, and Dominique goes flying the ball. Everybody in the gym is like, "Oh!" That's the thing about it. We would all make so much hype, and we'd hype stuff up that wasn't even probably that hyped up worthy.
Yeah, which was I like. Shout out Dominique too, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He made J-Town what it is.
He did. I mean, he's the first legend to really come out of there.
Yeah, he set the tone for everybody.
Because you had the Zieglers, you had a lot of guys that had came out from it earlier in the day. Like we even had
Dominique set the tone. Like he got everybody. A lot of people wanted to come to J-Town because of what Dominique do, and they still talk about Dominique and what he did, you know, at J-Town. Like,
I mean, Dominique's year in high school was super impressive. And the thing about it, too, is, talking about parties, I go to places with Nick Eggle, and Nick knew everybody because Nick was in the J-Town program from middle school. From middle school. So Nick would introduce me to Dominique, all these guys, and I'd be kicking it. And that's kind of, too, what made me comfortable. When I came in sophomore year, I wasn't afraid to see anybody summer league. Knew everybody coming in.
A lot of guys.
And that's the thing about Louisville. Even if you didn't hoop, you pretty much know everybody that's what I bring back for public school. But, you know, Myers was so much fun, but then it was like, Seneca and J-Town were fun, but the thing that's great is you kind of like got to put in the effort of staying in touch with people. Like social media helps, of course, like we all know each other on Facebook, Instagram and stuff, but you kind of got to put the effort in because the thing about it is we'll be all, you know, me and Brandon and Eddie be hanging out or something, we'll be like, wait, that dude went to our middle school or high school? And, like, you'll hear a story, and it might be somebody you didn't really kick with or know, but then it's like, man, I ain't talked to them. And then you'll look it up, and you're like, it's just crazy different life paths, you know? We all kind of came from one building and then go out different places.
And it was crazy. It's crazy because like, honestly, to be real, like, I'm trying to go back that far and remember, like, our first interaction. I want to say it was Javon.
Oh, for sure.
I didn't see you in the flesh until that. It was like, I want to say it was almost like a summer league workout or something like that.
I thought we were playing South Oak. I thought we went to that Odom County, did that tournament.
And we came back. Yeah. I remember it was in the big gym. It was at the first rim when you walk in the big gym. I know I was playing you on that rim, and I was hot. Like it wasn't a study skills we played, but I think it was during the summer. But I remember I was hyped up, and Javon was there because he was hyped. He was hyping the whole thing up, and then like I just remember like I didn't like you only because I knew what position you played. And and I knew you was good, and I knew I was as good as you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, this dude's coming in. He's a sophomore. He gonna take my
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
And he wears number 44. So I saw him like,
I did have 44.
he had 44. So like,
44 was
like,
my number. Yeah.
It was his number. I'm like, dude, this dude is similar to me. I gotta go in his bag.
Well,
Like,
yeah. I mean, I know. No, the thing about it was that's the way you viewed it.
We was going hard.
There was
trash
yeah.
talking. It was some family
Yeah.
going on, but it wasn't like I'm gonna beat you up. It was just like, dude, we gonna play
It was more
one-on-one.
basketball.
Yeah, it was,
and the thing about it too is
we was
you
talking trash to each other.
and the craziest thing about it was you and I were really good for our age and at our height, and we had already experienced like playing like even at the rec leagues you played in areas. But the thing about it was we really weren't though.
Nah, we really
because
weren't,
here's the thing, I'll never forget. You and I would play a lot of one-on-one on the side basket there, left diagonal side basket. We play, and Javon just sit there, and Javon would just be doing the dribble through behind his legs, watching us, and he'd be like, "All right, Sleezy, all right, Cason," or B, he'd call you B, and then out of nowhere, I remember Coach Sauceman come over, and Coach Sauceman at the time was the freshman coach,
Yeah, he was.
and I remember he sit there, and I remember he called me over the side, and he's like, "Listen, I like your game, but you're shooting with two hands." Well, the thing about it is, I did not realize at that point how much of an adjustment was from going to two-hand shooting to one hand.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Coach Sauceman, I don't think my game would have, number one, grown or got the respect it needed, because I switched from the two-hand shooting that's so easy that every middle school game you watch. That's why I drain 23s a game, because I'm shooting from the weight so comfortable. When you adjusted it, and then when I started hitting, especially like our JV, remember the JV practices 5-on-5 that sophomore year?
Yeah.
They were battles, and we had Raws. We had a lot of guys that we were playing, and it's like, you know, that whole team was so good. But the other thing that's such a small world, it's about the lifestyles and the cultures of. So Rid, rest in peace to Rid. You know, Rid was a guy I met sophomore year who was a freshman. When I was a sophomore, you know Rid very well. Do you know Rid, Tremain?
No, he doesn't. You know.
So Rid was a very talented point guard. Rid was a very talented kid. What's crazy is how life transitions. You know, Rid did pass away here recently, but the thing about Rid is, Rid not only hooped, but there was something about Rid, just personality. It wasn't about basketball. Like, put basketball aside. I just felt like that kid not only, like, he just something different about him. And then now you have a rapper out of Little, ESTG. If you go to his Instagram, Rid's his profile pic. Like, ESTG and Rid are super close. There's even videos on ESTG's profile, who's now one of the biggest rappers doing songs with Lil Baby, Harlow. You know, he posts these videos like, Rid, you know, I'll never forget you, that kind of things. And I go back and I'm thinking, I've interacted with so many people from so many different livelihoods, which is so dope. And that's why, and I've said this on an episode back in the day, that's why sports are so important. If it wasn't for sports, there'd be no way of a lot of the relationships we built. I don't think us three be sitting here hanging out talking.
Sports,
we'd be cool, like, but I don't think we'd be like, hey, like, remember these? We wouldn't have enough content. It was all about basketball.
Yeah, shout out Red. I miss you. I love you. I appreciate the time that we had, the motivational speeches you used to give.
Oh yeah.
At some of our
something
games.
About that. Something about Red was different.
Yeah, you missed dearly, but like you said, the relationships was crazy because I didn't like you, and it wasn't like a personal thing.
Yeah.
It was more competitive. Like
I think we made it personal.
Yeah, we made it. We made it. And Javon had a lot to do that.
Yeah.
And Jay Hill, a lot of people did, but it was more competitive thing.
But we didn't realize what trolling was back then, and we were all in a way trolling each other. I mean, think about this. A player that I'll shout out, and I have the utmost respect for him. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. I haven't talked to him in years, but Dale Easley.
Yeah.
And what I want to say about Dale is, Dale was number one. A lot of people don't realize this, and I don't know if Dale listened to this or not, but I got the call. I was in the locker room. I picked up the phone, and it was Dale's senior year. And Dale, we got a call at J-Town High School from the McDonald's All-American thing. Yeah. Dale had been a nominee. It don't matter if he made the team or not. Him being a nominee out of J-Town, we've won state. Dale's jumping out of the gym. I mean, Dale was dunking like a freak athlete. But here's the thing. Dale's like the best player on the team besides Cedric. Dale's booming. You got Tom. We got all these really major players, but you got Dale that you would think the star player. He'd walk on. People were roasting him. Like we're all roasting him. We're all giving him shit. He's. But the thing about it, that's what was so great about that J-Town basketball culture was that you be roasting each other, and it'd be the dude dropped 30, and you call him Squidward after the game. We're like messing with it. And the thing about it was no disrespect. It was just like goofing around. Then they give me shit. Then he give me shit. Or it'd be like, they'd be like, Sleaze, you a bum. You can't. And it's like, thing about it was, at that time, even if anybody took any of that personal, it was all love. It was no disrespect. And the thing about Dale was, to this day, Dale is probably one of my favorite high school basketball athletes I ever watched, because not only did he dunk, but I've never seen a guy that could catch it in the corner, like ready to shoot a three, do a pump fake, and then literally just rip it, go down and drive baseline, and either boom or do a reverse or whatever. And that was what was always fun to see. And then Thomas Coleman was just so much fun to watch too, because Thomas was probably the best big that I had ever seen at that time. If you agree, in my opinion, Now, would you say too that I feel like, and I can't speak for every team, but I feel like we were the most trained stamina-wise, running mile. You couldn't even play. If you made the team at J-Town. That wasn't just, you made it, it's all done and over, we're going to have a great season. You got to run a mile under a certain time, or you ain't playing any games. And you could be, it could be seven games in, and you still haven't finished that mile, you're still not playing. If you dunked in a game and missed it, you had to run a mile. I mean, there was just a lot of different things that you went by. So, Tremain, when playing basketball with Brandon and, like, you all growing up together and stuff like that, was there a rivalry between you two ever?
Yeah, there's always a rivalry.
Really?
Since kids.
Yeah.
Since we was real young.
First of all, we need to tell them how we
met on Grand.
Yeah,
in the West.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Y'all met on Grand Avenue?
I lived on
okay, I know exactly where
26
Grand
is. And I lived there first.
Yeah, and I came from
Shout out to the West End, for sure. There's a lot of places down there.
Tell them how the day we met. I remember exactly. It's been, 20-something, maybe. Yeah, it got to be 20 years.
Yeah, it's definitely 20-plus years since we known each other. And I came to that block, and I seen y'all there.
The first day. Yeah. The first day you moved on the block.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you invited me, you wanted me to come play for, Shawnee?
Yeah, but that wasn't the first night y'all moved. Remember, it was in the evening. It was like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all moved on the block. We came down there, and I started talking to y'all.
Yeah.
And we immediately had a big old wrestling match on the street.
Yeah.
Really?
That like an hour of meeting y'all.
This is wild. What?
Like, this is crazy. Like, all the kids out on the whole block.
How old we talking?
It was what? 8?
9?
No, 7. It had to be 7 or 8.
Well, I was like a year older than you.
Yeah, but we wasn't in the 4th and 5th grade yet. We was in the 3rd grade with each other. We was in the same grade. We was in the same grade, 3rd grade. Yeah, so it had to be. We had to be what? 3rd grade is how old you are? How old are you when you in the 3rd grade?
I'm trying to think. How
you got to be 10 or 11.
Yeah, because you'd be like 13, 14. I was freshman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that long. Well, anyways, it don't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that night we had a wrestling match.
Yeah, throughout the whole street. The whole street.
This is wild.
Got together.
I had to snap some pics there.
Look,
yeah, this is wild.
I know you're not from the hood, but this is back.
But you know that I know the hood because here's the thing. I know the hood now because of Budweiser and everything I've done, and just knowing you and ever being down there. But at that time, I'm still learning.
You got to think about, like, I know out here y'all went to each other's house to play basketball and did all kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But like downtown in the hood, like when we grew up, the whole block would play football.
And this is before like YouTube got big.
Yeah, before
2005, before social
Xbox,
media.
Anything was.
Everybody went outside to have fun.
All the kids, our generation, we played outside.
Yeah.
Everybody was out. Like we had this big old Royal Rumble wrestling match in front of his brand new
house
in his front yard.
And other people's yards too.
And everybody spent the night at your house at night.
And did you feel okay? The thing I want to ask you about playing sports in the West End, because I mean, it's the same thing. Like you said, when you're living in a neighborhood, you gather everybody playing and stuff. Did you ever feel like at the time? And I feel like there was a lot of star players that we've seen in our age range. Who was this player that you think stuck out?
Tell him who your stepbrother was at the time. He gonna know when you say his name.
Vic Anderson.
Oh, you're really?
Yeah,
I know Vic. Yeah,
that was his stepbrother.
Yeah, shout out to Vic Anderson. Okay.
They played for U of L?
Yeah.
So at that time, we used to what? We used to tap. Vic was playing Little League.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the team yet. No,
you weren't on the team.
No, only Jeremy was.
Yeah,
that's
Jeremy,
crazy.
brother.
My little brother was playing football before I was.
Wow.
But who was playing?
Vic, Adrian. Who else?
Adrian was your cousin at the
Yeah, Adrian was my cousin. Yeah, who else? Was it
Vic?
Henley?
It was just Vic and Adrian at the time.
Yeah, for Shawnee and who else?
But
who was the rival with Shawnee? Wasn't there a team? There was
y'all. You played for Fern Creek, didn't you?
Not football. I just played baseball. I played. I was in the J Town.
Okay, that was Eddie.
I did play some Fern Creek basketball.
That was Eddie.
But
Eddie played. It was Eddie and Gagel.
Eddie and Gagel.
That was Eddie and Gagel that played
now,
football.
there was the only sport I never played was football. I could play football, but I never got into organized football. I played organized baseball and basketball life, but I always loved going to games, watching, and I loved tossing football. The thing about it was, that's the thing about it. If you played any sport, even if you didn't even step on the football field, you knew who was good at football, and you knew who played football, and you knew about the rivalry. Like, you go to middle school, and you'd hear, like, this dude talking to this. I mean, Justin Marks played on that
Justin
team.
Marks was a beast,
Yeah, Justin Marks. Yeah, and that's the thing about it. And a lot of people don't realize, talking about Gagel, dude could sling it. I mean, for his, there was definitely, I think he was a year older than a lot of guys just because of, like, when he landed in school, but he had a cannon, and I remember playing. And Brent Smith, another guy that was really good, played in those leagues. But I remember too, was it the Lobos that were really good? Hikes Point Lobos.
We played Justin Green.
Yeah, Green.
They went to the NFL.
Oh,
we
really?
We scored on the Lobos. See, man, we can tell you something.
Oh, I'm talking. That's why I knew this podcast would be catching up.
All right, so look, this is crazy. All right, so. Tell them about Vic though, because we gotta get to the whole Little League thing.
Go ahead.
No, you tell them. That was your run. Like
Justin Green?
No, about Vic.
About Vic, Big Vic.
Victor Anderson.
Oh my God, he was a competitor.
But tell him what he used to do to us though when we used to play outside.
Outside in the yard.
In your yard.
He used to get on us.
Yeah, he used to put on all his equipment and make us go heads up with him.
Yeah, heads up.
Heads up with him with his equipment on?
With his equipment. And he was
bigger than us, more skilled than us, but he was getting us ready, grooming us.
Yeah.
But if
he would like give us his stuff. He had like 2 helmets. Yeah. He would give us his stuff.
Yeah.
And we would go heads up with him. And me and him didn't even play contact football yet.
Yeah.
We just playing in the yard.
Yeah, in the front yard.
So you all are taking more brutal hits than what a player would not even
Here go
be taking a regular game.
My little brother Jeremy, you never met him, but he's like 6'6". Eddie's met my little brother. You never been in the same where he's been there with me.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I have.
He went to J-Town. He didn't. You didn't see him a lot, but he did go to J-Town. But my little brother was playing football before me. And I would go to his games, and I'm like, Mom, I want to play football. So I started playing. Then when I started playing Tremain, he tried to play for Victor Anderson's team.
Yeah, the Rams.
You got Rams, the West End Rams, Fly Jet. It's in the West End.
Fly Jet,
You got cut. He got cut from his team.
Yeah, just some nonsense I got cut from.
Like I said,
and he was good.
That's what it is. It's politics. It's bullshit politics. Like you would, I remember I got kicked off the cross country team in middle school. All 3 years of Myers. I'm playing basketball all 3 years. I was also cross country 8th grade year. The day before the meet, I jump over a beehive, and some bees go crazy and almost sting the team. We all get in the gym. Coach is like, you can't run in the meet. like here's the thing, it's cross country. I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'm on the ball team. This is just training for basketball. Like I ain't gonna be no cry. Like I'm about to go hoop. Fuck you. But it's like thing about it was that's what was so funny. It's like they thought at that time, oh, they're being disciplined. It'd be a lesson learned. No, you're just being petty. Like let me play.
It was like this is back to where the Muhammad Ali League was like. You had the Optimist.
Oh, I heard it was
J-Town.
Awesome.
Muhammad Ali was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So at this time, they cut him. So I was playing for Shawnee. I was playing for my little brother's team.
Yeah.
Just the older age.
Now Shawnee was.
They had a youth team.
Youth team, okay.
Yeah. But of course, we practiced at the high school.
At the high school. Yeah.
So I said, he came home one day from practice. He was like, I got cut. You and Ty, your little brother.
My little brother Ty. Yeah.
And they both was. I said, what? We play football all together. So I'm like, he's good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, come and play for Shawnee with me. Yeah. And his mom was like, yeah, you can play. Yeah. So day one.
That's
and look,
wild.
the first year we played together. Like, to make a long story short, first year we played together, we won a championship. And we wasn't even like skill players. We was DNs.
Yeah, DNs. Yeah, we played both sides of the ball. Though we never got off the field. Never took a break.
Yeah. But like, it was so good that like he got cut was crazy. Like, because I was like, he's good. Like, why did you get cut? But I mean, that's how, like you said, politics.
Politics play a lot.
I mean, AAU basketball, it's a lot of politics now. But like with Little League football, somewhat.
There was a bigger name than Shawnee, wasn't it? The Rams.
Huh?
There was a bigger name than Shawnee.
Oh yeah. Remember back then it was like the Lobos.
Yeah, the Lobos. Like there was just a lot of talk, and like I said, you didn't have to play football, and you knew what was going on.
Like the Rams was like the powerful and Muhammad Ali, and the Rams and the Jets, and then Lobos, Fern Creek, and stuff.
And this is what's crazy. So you all talking about how y'all started.
Yeah.
You and I though. Yeah, we might not have liked each other sophomore year, but this is how quick our friendship grew and how we got a bond. Not only did we play sophomore year together, and then that summer after sophomore year, I think you, me, rest in peace to Rodney, Rashad, Cam, Gagel, Corey Williams, everybody. And Corey Williams wasn't even with us. He's still at Manual. We're all playing at Shawnee Park, Seneca Park, all these places we're playing basketball.
Now, here's the only thing I regret, and I was talking to somebody. I think I was talking to William Moore. I don't know if you know William Moore.
I know who he is, but we have never been like around each other.
Shout out to Will. He was my barber. He just retired. He got a better job doing something that he likes doing. So, but Will, we was just talking about that because we talked about how Rodney passed away recently. Yeah. And we was talking about the hoop sessions at Rodney's house. I never went to him.
See, that's what's crazy.
But I hoop with y'all. We hooped a couple of times at some ports.
Remember who Rodney would bring around all the time? His little cousin, Corey, who became a rapper, Young OG. He actually had a hit song, and basically, I remember not only would Rodney bring his cousin around and make Corey better, but I used to love playing Rodney because here's the thing about Rodney. It wasn't like you and I would give each other shit. Rodney be quiet, he's strong as shit, and he'd body you, and you knew not to mess with Rodney.
Yeah.
Like the thing about Rodney was, me and Rodney were always cool, but if you weren't on the basketball team, you didn't really know him. You ain't gonna mess with Rodney. Like he held his own. He knew it. He also too. He was tough minded, but I think sometimes too mentally he wanted to be in that mindset where it's like he wanted to be kind of more of the alpha dog. And the thing about it is, some people try to play that role and they do not live up to it. He could play that role and he could live up to it and also still come around a cul-de-sac with normal people that are just hooping.
With anybody. That's what I used to love about Rodney. I told this story to a couple of people. And Tremain, you don't know Rodney, but he played with us. He played basketball with us, but he passed away recently. I told you. I don't know if I told you this story in middle school. Because Rodney and all of them played back. This is back when I was in 7th grade. I'm at Carrillas now, and I'm seeing all these good basketball players.
Yes.
Don Richardson, Rodney,
Richardson,
Chavez, all of them was on the basketball team.
Dean Perrott.
Derek Ford. I'm looking at them like, dude, I could never be as good as them.
Carruthers had 6'4" Dean Perrott at 8th grade guarding me, dude. I thought Barry Moore was tough to guard. Me and Dean played together. Shout out to Dean Perrott, but Dean and I remember Dean looked at me, and this was crazy. Me and Dean are on the team together freshman year. We transferred to J-Town together on the team, but I just remember Dean 8th grade year before we were friends. He looks at me and he's like, we're about to box out somebody at the free throw line. He goes, it's going to be like stealing candy from a baby. And I said, the whole Carruthers gym's packed. It's like, I said, you ain't going to do shit. Motherfucker bodied me. And I'm like, dude, it's so big, but it's just, what's great is like, that's the other thing that's crazy. All these dudes that played for different teams in middle school, you never would have thought we'd all group. But then when they grouped into high school, it was almost like this huge recruiting pool with non-recruits. So like with no recruiting, it's like you come to this school, you're going to play with somebody that's from another good middle school.
And shout out Rodney. Well, the story was Rodney. We 7th and 8th grade at the end of the year after catch testing, we would go to Kentucky Kingdom.
Yeah.
I didn't have like I met some of y'all who was kind of wealthy at J-Town. And Tremain, though, I mean, we've been brothers, so he knows my lifestyle. Shoot, I used to wear your clothes.
Yeah.
Well, so you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have it. My mom had 7 kids, and I didn't grow up.
And that's why my mom and your mom were so close because
and we're gonna talk
my mom looked out for you a lot too. Yep. Not from the standpoint of like raising or doing anything, but like anything you needed, you could come.
Yeah, and so Rodney at the time, shoot. It was $15 to go to Kentucky Kingdom. I didn't have it.
Yeah. Right.
Guess what Rodney told me?
A lot of kids didn't have that shit.
Rodney told me.
It's not their fault. No. It's not their fault.
I told Rodney I wasn't going. He said, why you ain't going? What do you mean you're not going? He said, you going? I said, I don't have it, bro. And you know what he said? Come tomorrow. I got your money. I got you.
See, that's loyalty.
I went up to him. I forged my signature on the permission slip, and Rodney gave me $15 on the spot.
See, that's loyal. That's loyalty, and see, that's the thing.
Nobody knew about it. He didn't like make fun of.
Yeah, because you wouldn't do that.
In 7th grade. Yeah, who does that?
Yeah, who does that? And that's what made him stand out. You know, and I remember sophomore year, he was hard on me because I'm the new kid. Anybody that comes in, no matter if you're playing this position or not, like when you're a transfer, like me and Dean, we're kind of targets because we come in, they're like, man, we just went undefeated last year. Who are these 2 kids from Seneca trying to come over here? The 2 biggest guys from Seneca are trying to transfer to play.
The 4 and the 5.
And so we come in. Yeah, we come in. We're the 4 and the 5. And so even Rodney playing shooting guard, you know, Rodney and these guys are like, who are these cats? But the thing about Rodney was, then again, same thing, junior. After that sophomore year, like I said, I loved high school. I had a blast. But I mean, I won homecoming king and I was like, you know. That's when I did that senior year, the reason I felt like I won homecoming king was because, again, I adapted to everyone and I was open-minded and cool with everyone. So, like, going back to sophomore year, that sophomore year, I had to not only prove myself in basketball, but I had to prove myself into the character I was. And I think that's why people said no matter if I hooped or if I was just a fucking math nerd, would be like, this guy's nice. Like, this dude's cool. I want to fuck with this guy. And so, junior year, your and I friendship, besides us playing ball in the summer, you know, bro, how crazy of a transformation from we're trying to go at each other, and then the next year I'm holding a sign at your football game that says Cason for Heisman. Yeah. You know, like just as like it being funny, but I had the sign up and I traveled with the group out we almost went like over an hour away in some country city. Y'all were playing like Anderson County or somewhere in the BFE, Kentucky, bumfuck Egypt. And the thing about it is we go out there.
There was no Bullet game too.
Bullet, maybe.
Because the game got canceled.
That's where it was. Okay, so we're out there in the like the cut, and basically I just remember. We're out there tailgating for the game.
Canceled. Remember, it got delayed.
It got delayed. And the thing about it is, you got half the basketball team, half the baseball team tailgating with chicks out there. We're tailgating for a J-Town high school football game. And J-Town, and no offense to J-Town, you were a baller, but no offense to J-Town. J-Town's not a football pro. Yeah. But I'm saying to be able to get a whole group of people from other sports to go support people, and none of us were ever playing football. We didn't, like, half the people that would go tailgate probably never even picked up a football.
They didn't care that it was losing.
They didn't care losing. You're cheering on your favorite dude. Like, I remember we stormed the field when Tolik kicked the field goal, and it was crazy.
We beat South Florida.
And that made, and you could, and Tolik, shout out to Tolik. I remember Tolik in class would be like, man, y'all made my night, because Tolik's on the team, but Tolik's from a little bit of a different culture. Tolik's more on kicking, special teams. So he's not the star player. He's not somebody going out for why.
He was actually a foreign exchange kid. Remember, he spoke 6 different languages or something.
So it's like the thing about it is he was good at soccer and he could kick the hell out of a football. But you had a great career from, you were a great scrambling quarterback. You also were like, you didn't have the best line, but you were able to like take advantage of that. Then you had, shout out to Mike Ash. You had Mike Ash there catching balls. I mean, Mike at one point was top 5 in the state in touchdowns. So, and you end up getting an award, which you get all district, all region.
I got district player of the year, 5A district player of the year, and all state mention for safety.
Yeah. Because you play both sides of the ball. And here's the thing I'll say about Brandon. You gave me some compliments, so I'll pay you back in it. not only were you a great athlete, but this is just proof of the pudding. I said earlier I was watching Lil Durk interview, just listening to how that guy came up. Damn, a rough life. But I'm not saying you had a horrible life or anything, but like you said, you had a tougher upbringing, you had a tougher thing you had to deal with, but then you didn't even play organized football until a certain point, and then you're winning those awards. You're playing basketball. You're winning state. You had a great high school run as an athlete, one of the best athletes out of J-Town High School. But the thing about it is, you didn't sit there and cry. You didn't mope. You didn't say, well, I've had a tough break down here in Grand or down wherever I'm at. Fuck it. No, you still were the same person, and you made yourself better.
I can't sit here and see.
Which I think that's
the thing. I can't sit here and take the credit. Because
was it the people around you?
Because it was the people. Like, all right, I'm going back to middle school because this is when the math started. I was struggling at that time. I didn't have I didn't have any confidence in myself. They were splitting me and you up.
Yeah.
Sixth grade year, you had a little more anger to you, didn't you?
Yeah,
because you were in the sixth grade.
Because it's my best friend. I moved. My dad just died. I moved away from my best friend for how many years?
Yeah.
He's going to a different school.
Yes.
That's stressing me out.
Yeah.
Everything we did it together.
Yeah, and so and the thing about it was, I feel like not only was the people around you like in that, but you were the same person.
Yeah.
You didn't start playing sports and think, oh no, like you were humbled like from what you had gone through, I remember.
Yeah, like I said, and I gotta give credit.
Like that.
It started in middle school with Rodney because I got to see a black guy
mm-hmm.
who I knew lived in J-Town.
Yeah,
and he showed me a different way of living that I'd never seen before.
And
if that makes any sense,
Well, it's because that's what it goes back to the thing with the Jack Harlan. It don't matter if it's black or black white.
Right.
Yeah. We were all, and I don't. Okay, I'm trying to think how to compare this. It's nothing like prisoner of jail, but we're all thrown into a building to learn and to play sports and into almost like a miniature high school. But then we're all like coming from these different viewpoints, and I'm like, you go to elementary school, you go to where you go in that area, but once you got to middle school. That's why people are always shocked. Like, wait, Sleezy, you were down on 43rd and 8th grade hangout? Yeah, I was because those are my friends.
And to put it in perspective, Carruthers Middle School in Louisville, Kentucky, is how many miles away from downtown Louisville?
Oh, I mean, to be honest with you, Carruthers, Myers is probably only 12 minutes.
Well, I'm talking about.
But with Carruthers, the thing about Carruthers is it's not only in J-Town; it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It's in the middle of a very nice, wealthy white neighborhood.
Yes. So think about how I felt. I seen this black kid who had every new pair of shoes, every throwback jersey at the time, because that's what throwback jerseys was. And you know what? He came to school. He never bragged about it. He said, I got one for you. I can get you one. Yeah. I got this one. I got this one. You can have this too. You want to know what? In middle school, I was going to ain't nothing wrong with going to school barber shops where people are learning how to cut. It's $5.
Yeah.
So I couldn't afford to get my hair cut. But Rodney, he knew the difference because Rodney used to go to some of the best barbers.
And that's what's fucked up about middle school. People judge people and don't really. Just to finish, just to go back into what you're saying, talking about a haircut. Yeah, it's just a haircut. But see, people didn't realize you couldn't afford the haircut, or your mom having situated as other kids. Right. They're just looking at you like, look at that shitty haircut. Look at that, and it's not your fault. That's what I'm getting back to. It was never anyone's fault to have this shit happen to when they're a kid. And it's not your mom's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's just situations. But then, like you said, if there's people not like Rodney and these others, you wouldn't feel that that love and welcome. And you opened your mind to a whole different.
Rodney would be like, "B, your haircut's nice, but I know you can get it. You can get it somewhere better."
Because he could have looked at you and said, "It's shitty.
I
what are you doing?"
I told him when I was doing it, like when you get ready to go to a rip, I'm gonna hook you up. So Rodney was the first person that took me to an E in J-Town.
Yeah, and I picked you up. I picked you up before.
I got my haircut like Rodney told me to get it, and I remember coming back to school. He was like, "That's it right there," and I never stopped. Ever since then, every little allowance that I used to get, I used to save my money and go get a haircut by a real barber because Rodney was right. But Rodney never. The thing about it is, Rodney never made fun of me. He had more money than
he could have, but he never.
He would literally try to help me out, and like give me stuff all the time.
Yeah, right.
And he was probably one of the wealthiest people in our middle school. You know what I mean?
But see,
So
that's the
it's
thing
like,
about it. He was like this tough exterior,
yes,
but he was soft inside.
Yes, and I was
and
like,
people
so,
didn't see that side.
once
He
I
probably
met-
didn't even want, like, if he was still alive today, he probably wouldn't even want us
wouldn't
talking about
even
how
talk about it.
like because he'd be like, I'm doing that, you know. But it's
Yeah.
like, dude, like, perfect example. My buddy AJ, shout out to AJ Thomas. AJ Thomas lives next to Rodney's grandma, and I pull up to AJ just to kick it. AJ's my boy, and Rodney's cutting the grass, and I look over, and this is what's crazy. This is like 2 months before Rodney passed. Me and Rodney catching up in the front yard. Rodney's like, "What's good, Sleazy? You know, what's up?" I was like, "What's up, Rodney?" And we're just catching up talking. And, you know, his grandma's on the front. He's helping his grandma do the whole yard and everything like that. And that's what I loved about the dude is because, you know, he respected people around him. Like, and not only people, his friends, but like took care of his grandma, took care of his family. That's why when he passed, it was such a shock to me because we probably hadn't kicked or seen each other since high school, but we stayed in touch on social media, whatever, and it just hits you. And and you know what? I want to say this too. You know, shout out to everybody that we have lost. And when I say that, I'm talking, you know, me, Brandon, Tremain, we're in our early 30s, and you know, we've seen a lot, and that's the one thing about going to public school. It not only makes you a man, it not only makes you to be, I also think this too. If you go to public school and you still have racism in you and you came from public school, you're just a piece of shit. Because what public school did for me as well, it not only opens up your mind to other cultures, but it makes you love everybody. I've always loved everybody. I've never had a problem with anybody of race, color, descent, ethnic. That's why every foreign exchange student was friends with me at my house. But I never looked at anybody, looked down, and that's what I feel like public school made me man, because I have so many black friends, so many gay friends, so many foreign friends, and it's because I not only had respect and admiration, but I learned about different people, and I never judged, and it was natural. It wasn't like if you came to school and you're like, hey, like D Stan, for example, shout out to D. D comes to my house, I never knew to put pepper jack cheese and hot sauce on top of my ramen, and like he showed me how to do it, and then the most funniest thing, he's like, hey dog, I gotta go boo boo. And to be honest, I never knew the word boo boo, but I'm learning all this, and then I'm saying it, and it's just natural, and everybody just gets along, and that's what I loved about it, because, and maybe it's different in other states, maybe it's different in other cities, but in Louisville, and especially where us three went, Seneca, J-Town, Myers, all that in the mix, it just, you didn't feel like there was just a hater of like who I am. It was just more of like you give each other shit. It's all love. There's nothing mean. There's nothing there's nothing putting you down. It's more of just like, hey, you know, I'm gonna make fun of my boy's shoes right now, but it's not because I'm putting you down because you make less money. It's just because because you're about to roast me back and say, oh, what, you got T-Max on? You think Tracy's good? Like, it's that kind of shit.
Here goes Rodney. Rodney, this black dude who has every throwback jersey unknown and every pair of Jordans. And then I meet this other white kid named Dylan Blackwell who looks like me, dresses like me, who sags his pants like me. Got 2 earrings.
Lives 2 blocks from Carruthers.
Yes, and got 2 rings.
Rodney lives 2 blocks from Carruthers.
And talks black, and has another friend named Brandon Knight who acts the same way. And I'm like, these dudes are the coolest dudes ever. You know? And so it's like,
and to be honest, it makes you. It not only does sports happen, but I just feel like what our opportunity I feel like this day has helped us.
All these J-Town people that grew up, well, didn't necessarily, because Rodney didn't grow up in J-Town, but he lived in J-Town during the time he was in school. All of these people, I got to see something besides the hood. You get what I'm saying? Like, I remember going to Mitch's house, and he got a mansion, and he let me stay at his house. It was like motivation.
Mitch was like the most spoiled kid in. He had so much.
And so me, you, Jesse, we would go over and spend the night over Mitch's house, and that was my first time ever being in a nice house like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I seen your house. I seen Mike's house.
Yeah.
So it's like, why go back home?
Yeah. Why not? You kick it all 3 days on the weekends.
I stayed at Eddie's all summer.
You have your stuff. You knew you had a free shower. You knew you had a bathroom. You knew that you had a place to crash. And the thing about it too is, our senior year, me, you, Mike, Taco, and Eddie were inseparable.
Yeah.
Our senior year, we did the senior prank. Our last week of school, we're together every day. And I remember Mike Ash's house. We're there every day, kicking it, the crazy stuff. We'd run around town
on the floor.
Yeah. And we Taco was hilarious. Now Taco, he's still doing football. Shout out to Taco. Taco's a character. Taco's one of the most funniest dudes I ever met. But the thing about Taco is like, you know, that's the thing about it. We like that group right there. Think about this right now. I just want to tell the people in the crowd. I want you all to think about this senior group. You got me, Eric Clark. You know, I'm friends with everybody, whatever. But I'm just this, you know, dude that wants to be a music producer. I'm going to school. I'm popular, whatever. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's what it was. But it's like, I'm kicking it with you, the football star. Then we got Mike from Compton, another football star. Then you got Eddie, the nicest guy on the whole entire planet. That everybody says that to this day. He's still the nicest guy ever born. And then you got Taco, the funniest motherfucker. He's hilarious, big horn dog, crazy. But we're all having a blast. We're all like us five. We be in the base and we be gaming. And then what I loved about it was this. We're fucking 18 years old, and we're going out like we're going. We're going out like we're.
Even Taco. See, out of the group, you, Taco, D, Eddie, and Mike. Especially Eddie's dads, all had better stuff than I had. So I was either at y'all house. I was at one of y'all houses all throughout my whole.
But what's great too is though about you might be. I'm not saying you're taking it, but you would hang out with us to be more comfortable where we're at. But then, if we wanted a hoop session or a football game or something to do, you'd have us at a hood spot or like have people come from the hood play us, and it's like. It wasn't a big deal, but I'm just like, I wouldn't have met this guy if it wasn't for you calling him up. Like, the funniest thing ever, you know, a lot of people would have been like, oh, like, what? It's not a big deal. Larry Bond, shout out to Larry Bond. He invited me and Eddie to his graduation party. We're the only two white guys there. There's 500 black people. And the thing about it is, we're having a blast. They're letting us DJ. We're having a good time. And it's like, that was not unnormal to me. That was normal, and that's where I feel like, shout out to J-Town, it made me the man I am because I have tons of faults. I'm not perfect, clearly. I mean, we all do. But I feel like the one thing people can say about me, you, Tremain, we all are the same person. We're all real. We're genuine, and we have good character. We're not pieces of shit. And also too, we all got a story, but we all kind of. Our story ended up molding again together. Okay, so before we get into like what you guys are currently doing, and also too like with you coaching and Iroquois and everything, let's talk about. And this has been a blast. I'll be honest. This podcast could probably go for 7 hours, and everybody that's listening, I know we're just telling a lot of like this old stories and funny stories. And you're probably listening like I don't know any of these people, but you know what? This is a blast, and this is probably my favorite episode just because. It's all relatable. And it's so fun. So, let's talk about the NBA. And when I bring up the NBA, this is June 6, 2021. So if anyone's listening to this, I know there's gonna be games played tonight. There's games played this week. We're in the NBA playoffs. But before we dive into the playoffs and opinions and teams and stuff like that, Tremain, your favorite team is
Indiana Pacers.
Your favorite team, Cason?
I hate the NBA.
So Cason doesn't like it, but
you got a team though.
You got a team though, don't you?
Don't lie.
No, so if I'm gonna be real and be honest, I'm bounced around.
You're a bandwagon.
But I've been more.
You just like good basketball.
I like good basketball.
But you're more in the coaching element. Like if you never coach or you never were wanting to mold kids into like more of the fundamental and like develop the game, who would be a team right now that you would say you like? Who would you like to see win this year?
Utah.
Team. Okay, exactly.
But
that's someone different.
Well,
but
I hate the NBA.
Yeah,
I hate pro sports.
And I respect that.
I don't really like pro
Everyone
sports.
has their own opinion. Like I'm not a big college guy like I used to be. But thing about the NBA is this. I'm an Indiana Pacers fan as well. So shout out to the Pacers.
Right.
I unfortunately didn't have a great playoff run. Sabonis they didn't really get to do anything this year. So but shout out to Sabonis. I think there's a McConnell actually was leading the league in steals. I think the Pacers do have a bright future, and I always do say this, but I think they really do. It's just Got to get the right pieces. But what's y'all's opinion on? Just I know you're not big into pro sports brand, but maybe Tremain, I can ask you as well.
I mean, I still pay attention.
Who do you all think right now? I'll ask you first, Tremain. If you had to say right now in the current roster state, I'm going to ask you three people. So I want to ask you, who do you think is the future star of the league? Who do you think is the current star of the league? And who is your favorite rookie?
Favorite rookie is LaMelo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from what I've seen so far, his rookie season.
Yeah, it's his opinion. It's his opinion. Yeah.
It could change, like going forward, but for rookie season here, he's been killing so far for Charlotte.
Yeah.
The best player so
currently.
Far? Currently.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Think hard before you go. Currently, we talking currently.
I know currently.
So before this is not the future star, because we're gonna get to the future star.
Yeah, like currently,
like right now, as today.
Who's the face
Sunday,
of the league?
June 6th.
June 6th. Yeah. Who is currently my favorite player right now? This going forward?
No, did you say who's the best?
I say who's your favorite currently now the best, and
who's
then
my
who do you
favorite?
think? Who do you think's the future star?
Who's my favorite? Who's the I think
who's
the best?
Who do you think's the best? Yeah, who do you think's the best? And then and then who do you think's the future star? Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Who I think is the best?
Yeah.
Or who's my favorite?
Let's answer both of them. Who's your favorite, and then who you think's the best? If it's the same person, that's fine. But
yeah.
Who's the favorite? Who I think is the best? There's different people. Okay. Who I think is the best right now? I think is that's hard right there.
you should know this.
No, I don't. I think it's the best right now. Well, I think
it's easy.
Well, let me ask Cason real quick, and I'll let you think. Cason, who would you say is your favorite rookie?
There's two people.
First of all,
favorite, I like Anthony Edwards.
Okay, who's your favorite current player? Who do you think's the best player currently in the NBA?
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, and who do you think's the future of the league?
Who's the future?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh God.
Can I give you?
That's hard, but I'm gonna throw it out there. The future.
Yeah. Like, who's going to be somebody in 10 years? We're going to be like,
today,
damn, yeah.
As of today, by just watching the NBA, totally and said Luka, but I'm scared of him getting hurt.
Okay.
His body's breaking down young, like it reminds me almost like.
That's what I was thinking. The future. Luka is one of those players, top two
we
players.
We said the same thing about Rose and Rose's body, but Luka's taking on some punishment right now, and I think it's Dallas's fault for not putting enough pieces around him.
Yeah.
Why he's.
Yeah, Porzingis. I thought him would be the new Steve Nash.
Yeah, he's getting beat up a lot.
I agree with you from Anthony Edwards for the best rookie. Now, my favorite player that I would say is the current star of the league, in my opinion.
Hold on. Are we saying because y'all say like.
I know it's
who's playing better this year.
And it's almost like we're targeting this year, but I would say the player I feel like is like the face of the league and the one that is just like is just killing it.
Can take on the brand.
Could take on the brand. Of course it's LeBron. Yeah, wow. But I also think to be honest with you too, I think Luka, but I also think Trae Young. And I think, now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think Trae Young is definitely the future of the league. Trae Young, I actually went to Trae Young's first NBA game when he played for Cleveland. He playing against Cleveland. He plays for the Hawks, but he snapped against Cleveland. This was back in like 2018. I drove to Cleveland. I had to watch him, and dude was just stroking threes. But the person I think's the future of the league, and I think it's going to be like maybe future LeBron.
Before you say that, do you think Trae gonna stay in Atlanta?
I think Trae does stay in Atlanta.
His whole career?
Not his whole career. I think Trae leaves after about a decade. But I think if they give him a max, give him a max deal, they might. But Atlanta's really big on having a guy for a few years and they'll rotate him out. And a lot of times a guy will play for Atlanta. And I enjoy the Hawks organization. They've had some great legends, but they'll try to kick them out or try to move them. If you heard,
Atlanta's doing a lot of crazy stuff to draw fans and try to.
So if they put the right pieces around Trae Young.
Atlanta cares about their fans. Yeah. If they put the right pieces for sure. Now I think the future though. I think the guy in 5 years from now that we're all going to want to tune in to watch, because he's not only going to be kind of the age point where LeBron is Damian Lillard.
Oh God!
Now, and the reason I say that is this. The reason I say Dame is this. Dame is the reason why is if you look at his accolades, we do not pay attention because he plays for the Blazers. We live in Louisville. We don't get tons of the late night games. If you do, you got to stay up super late. Dame, not only for his playoff performance, but when I watch Dame each season, the guy's a leader. The guy's clutch. But who the fuck does he have? You got a couple guys on the team. You got McCollum. You got all these guys. You got bigs. But Damian is the one that is leading that. You got Melo. Melo, though, is not in his prime. Melo's a legend. He's a GOAT. But he's going to the Hall of Fame. But the thing about it is you have Damian's going to be the one that I feel like Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless will be talking about him in a few years like, oh, is Dame going to finish this playoff? You know, because everybody's been going super hard on LeBron being bounced out and going hard on the LA market, but I just believe Dame will be the future. He'll be the future face.
Dame is missing a piece for Portland to get to that next level.
And it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. They're missing a dominant big.
Do you think he gets Jason Kidd though? He wants Jason Kidd as his coach.
Yeah.
And do you think that takes him to the next level?
Who'd you say your favorite? Who'd you say your current player was?
Who's the current one?
Giannis.
Giannis, okay.
All
right. Well,
and to be honest with you,
Giannis is doing fine.
But see, that's the thing about it. All these players we just mentioned. Think about this. Even if you don't watch the NBA, with us living in Louisville, we don't have an NBA team. But even TNT, even ESPN, anybody broadcasting the NBA, all these guys we're naming are on. Even though they're on good team and they're great, we're not getting to watch them a lot. Yeah, like Giannis, how many Bucks games are on for us? Like how many games for the Blazers? How many Lakers games do we get to see until it's prime
I watch
time,
it, but they don't play. I watch it till the play. I only like watching the NBA really is when the playoffs come. But
I'll watch they're not playing hard.
If nothing's on, I'm not doing nothing. The game's on, I'll watch it because they don't play hard. But to get back to what I was going to ask you is this: if you switch Dame Dollar, put him on the Mavs. Put
with the same roster.
Luka, yes, and put Luka on Portland. Yes. Who do the Mavericks go as far as they go? Does Portland stop when they stop?
The Mavericks. The whole reason why the Mavericks are going as far as they go right now, Luka is unbelievable, but it's their bigs. And if they didn't have the bigs they had, I feel like they wouldn't be. Now here's the thing. Go back to your question. I like that question a lot, but let's do this. And let's go back to the draft of 2018. Yeah. Trae Young and Luka could have been on the Hawks. Trae Young could have been on Dallas. They got traded. In the first round for picks. So if you think about it, that's not number one. That's probably the most even trade in NBA history. Oh, I'll give you Trae Young for Luka. It's almost like a Pokemon thing you would play when you're a kid on a Game Boy doing a trade. It's like that's about as even as it gets. But
the Mavericks have a great coach.
And Mavericks have a great coach. And Atlanta's got a great program. Like you said, Atlanta's doing well. But see, Portland just fired their coach. They mutually parted ways. He's been there for almost a decade. Most of Dame's prime and career. Will the new coach elevate Dame's game? I just think Dame's hungry. I think he's hungry.
You think that? That's what I was going to ask you. I said, how?
He's
I want
so
to know.
Hungry.
I don't know if I read that. Like, okay,
he just don't have that. He don't have that.
He's balling.
But
why would you extend your contract with Portland? You haven't been hurt. You know you're gonna keep balling.
He's loyal.
That's crazy.
There's not a lot of loyalty
though. But that makes me think: do you want a championship or do you just want the bread?
I think he wants a championship.
But I think he wants it in.
But the only person he's drawing in is Carmelo Anthony.
LeBron wants him to come to LA, and he don't want to be LeBron's sidekick and help him when he wants to beat the.
Okay, nobody wants to be a sidekick.
Did you tell Devin Booker don't sign that contract with Phoenix? Come to Portland with me.
I think Devin should have left a while ago.
He took the bread because he didn't know he was going to get a Chris Paul.
Here's the thing with Devin Booker. I'll say this: Devin Booker is so young. I think Devin Booker at the time, number one, you're not going to turn down that money. Also, two. The reason I kind of like what Booker did in Phoenix is it's an amazing story. Like their coach is like their coach actually reminds me of you. Yeah. And the reason I say that Monty is because he's a respectful guy and like you're a coach and so I respect you as well. Not because you're my friend, but just I respect you coaching. Yeah. And that's what I always love about Monty. Monty ain't in it to be an NBA coach or for the money and the fame. Yeah. That dude's out there because he wants to coach and make teams better. What they've done with the Suns is amazing. But Booker, He's another big future star, but I think Booker has the same mindset as some of these other guys. Phoenix hasn't had a star in 10, 15 years since Nash, since Steve Nash.
They haven't had a leader since
So
Nash.
He probably wants to take it and see, and now he's probably sitting there like, I'm glad I signed this deal, because even if I didn't get CP3, even if I didn't get Jay Crowder, I'm literally building my own legacy. I've talked about on this podcast, and I know I've said this probably now close to 8 times, and we're on episode 16, so probably half of them. But like, legacy is really important to me. That's why I think character is important to me. But when you get to the pro level, there's not a lot of loyalty. Even if you could be the best star player, but there's cap space, there's money thing, there's fan base, there's something you get arrested for. There could be, you're on teams. It's just, everybody's in the spotlight. You always got a camera on you, especially once you sign a big contract. The world's looking at you. But a lot of these guys, they're doing the loyalty thing. I got respect for it, and I like it, and I think too it's something different. But you do have guys too that want to get into that role. I think AD, perfect example. AD was in New Orleans. He wanted to be loyal to New Orleans. I think AD deep down those first few seasons before injuries really took a hit. He wanted to stay in New Orleans. In New Orleans, that's dope. Like, that's why Chris Paul loved New Orleans. Chris Paul was doing bowling tournaments, being the grand marshal of the Mardi Gras parade, doing all this stuff because he cared about the culture in the city. He's just a good dude. But AD, I think he got to a point where he's like, even if Zion wasn't even a thought, he didn't see a future. He didn't see them caring. They didn't really give a shit. So I think he got to the point where I've done everything you can in the league. I mean, he literally has, besides winning an MVP. Why don't I just go to LA with LeBron? LeBron wants me and try to win. But AD's still my favorite players. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a freaking Pacers fan. But it's like, I still respect AD because I think he got to a point, you have to be as loyal as long as the person you're loyal to is being loyal to you.
Right.
If there's no loyalty to you, fuck it. It's out the window. So I think a lot of these guys, this guy's giving me 5 years, $150 million. I'll take it. But then it's like year 5. Well, I've won every award. I've not actually done anything championship-wise. This team sucks, and half these guys are rookies. Hey, what did you say, Karl Anthony Towns? You need somebody up there, or what you say? You need somebody in Miami? Jimmy Butler. It's just and talking about relationships and networking. The league's a network. These guys are playing each other off season. I mean, shit. James Harden in the off season, they go to New York City. They'll play in these different places, and there's people training and playing. But it's also too. It's like a lot of people want to do the experiment route. They want to see if it'll work, and then it's not that they're like, "Fuck this guy." They're boys. They're all the league. They want to end up taking it as, let's try the experiment. The experiment didn't work. Let's move on to another thing. And I think that's why we see so much movement. But that's what keeps any pro interest is like for example, the big talk of the sports world now. They're not to switch sports, but like Julio Jones going to the Titans. The whole reason why we love sports is because we love sports, but we also love to see some change. And the leagues wouldn't be as exciting if we didn't see those changes. But two, a lot of this shit's just an experiment. But I think a lot of guys just get to a point where this person's not doing enough, and they see the red flags in the front office, and they want to keep it moving. So the NBA right now, like we've talked, so like the playoffs or whatever are going really great right now. I think it can be kind of anyone's game. Do you think Brooklyn wins it? I mean, do you think anyone has a chance to take Brooklyn down?
On paper, Brooklyn should
on paper,
make the finals. Yeah. Brooklyn and or Milwaukee out of the East.
Yeah.
Philly had a chance. I would love to see Philly get to the finals after so long. In the West, Denver, before Murray got hurt, I think Denver had a good chance of going.
Jokic is playing out of his mind this year.
He's definitely MVP to me.
Yeah, he was MVP as well to me. Yeah. I thought Joker actually like probably your boringest MVP of all time. Not only does he have dimes, not only can he shoot the 3 mid-range. I mean, it's fun to watch him. He's great, but he's not the person booming out the gym or doing these crazy mega shots.
Embiid or Curry during the end of the season, he was balling his ass off. I don't know if I cuss.
Oh, no, you can cuss. Yeah. No, this is raw shit. You can see where I've said shit like 10 times.
Steph Curry, during the end of the season, he was balling his ass off.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he made his name. They put his name in the MVP race.
For sure.
See, I get MVP, but I thought a couple of guys should have got MVP. I mean, when you look at, I look at it as we say superstars, like Jokic, superstar for Denver. Who else you say on that list?
Embiid, but he's injury prone.
Superstar for the 76ers.
It's injuries that,
like,
that can really affect somebody,
I'm
too.
looking at it like somebody like, oh, okay, is Phoenix in the situation they in without Chris Paul? No. And I think recently LeBron has had MVPs because they Cleveland wouldn't have done nothing without LeBron. So, like in my MVP race, Chris Paul was definitely in my top 5.
He was.
Because, he changed, the most valuable player.
Yes, and not only,
that's why I put Curry in.
You get what I'm saying? Like they go away from that.
Their team was crap.
People don't realize about Chris Paul is this. This man has played in so many games. He's done so many things. The guy pretty much is at a point. He's done everything in his career. He just needs to win a title.
Give Devin Booker credit for buying in to Chris Paul.
Booker bought in, and the thing about it, too, is you bring in Chris Paul, you got to listen to him. He's a leader. Not only is he a leader, he's also the president of your Players Association. He's fighting for your rights, and he's respected. So the thing about Chris Paul is, that's what I love, too. He'll give as much shit out, too, as well. Like, he's not only fighting for you in the union as the players and helping just the NBA. He'll be talking shit to you, and then the next game he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And what I love about it is because he's a competitor, he's a fighter, and he does the same. Like Chris Paul, also one of the best bowlers ever to play in NBA and bowling. He's just as competitive. I watched him on these tournaments on ESPN, and it's one of these cases where it's a battle, and I think he takes that mind state in anything he goes. I mean, dude went to Wake Forest, and Tim Duncan went to Wake Forest as well. So Wake Forest definitely has had some athletes, some Hall of Famers. But Chris Paul, I felt like even before he left New Orleans, dude's a Hall of Famer already. And then also too, think about this. Here's a big question I'll ask you guys, and I'll give you my opinion after. What if David Stern never avoided the Chris Paul trade to LA?
Oh my goodness.
With Kobe and everything. Like Kobe would still be in LA. Chris Paul would be playing.
You would have. Yeah, because you would still have Paul
Stern
Gasol.
voided the trade.
You would have all of those guys, Lamar Odom, and then you.
It's the only trade that got voided.
To it. That's crazy.
And what's weird about it is you see how the league is now and how stars are all monopolized and get on these same teams together. And I know it's a new commissioner. It's not Stern anymore, but David Stern, in my opinion, he was, and I'm not, like I said, rest in peace, David Stern. He passed. He did help the NBA, and he did develop his brain. He did some controversial stuff. I still think he froze the card on lottery night, and they said the rumor is that he froze the cards, like the Knicks card, so Patrick Ewing in the NBA lottery, because Jordan's in Chicago killing it. They needed a star in New York, so Patrick Ewing's the biggest star at that time besides Jordan. Let's put him in New York, and I think Stern kind of wanted to have pieces where he wanted it. He also didn't want to see a team being the dominant team and nobody around. So I understand that, but at the same time, the way the league has gone now, that void is so weird, and it's probably the biggest what if ever, because not only has Chris Paul also been on every team, that void it's a mystery. It's a mystery.
My opinion on the whole void thing is this. I hate that the void happened.
Yes.
But I'm not happy David Stern has passed away, but I'm happy that we got
a new GM, a new commissioner,
because
Adam Silver. Shout out to Adam Silver.
Adam Silver. I don't know if David Stern could have.
I think he's a good human being too. I think Adam Silver cares about the players.
I think
more.
David Stern did too. I heard some good things about David Stern as well, but I don't know if David Stern was able to handle some of the things Adam Silver's handled.
But here's the only thing I'll give David Stern with the Adam Silver thing. David Stern, if he did not have Adam Silver as his second command and follow him around, probably Adam Silver didn't agree with half the stuff. Adam Silver probably was also I don't know about this, but I got to, because he realized Stern's getting older.
I'm gonna be able to do it.
And Stern's told him, hey, you're next, but I don't know when, but you're next. And so Adam Silver's kind of like, well, I can change some things. That makes him better. And also too, him being with David took on any shit that happened, because like Dan Patrick, one of my favorite sports interviewers, has a great radio show every morning on 790. We air at 10 to 12 in Louisville. He's usually 3 hours, 9 to 12. You can hear him on danpatrick.com. But basically, Dan will be... He had David Stern on before he passed the interview. And, Dan asked him some serious questions, and Stern was kind of one of these commissioners, kind of like Bud Selig was in baseball, where he just throw off any question like what you just asked me? Like, almost get offended. Adam Silver, I feel like, realizes I'm going to be asked tough questions, but what I love about Adam Silver is the most, and again, another human being that I don't know personally, he could be an asshole, who knows, but the thing about him is, I can tell it ain't just about basketball for him. Right. He cares about the league, he cares about the culture, and if somebody really has a major issue and we're not talking about basketball, he wants to do it. He also doesn't give a shit what people think, and that's what I love. Like the Black Lives Matter movement and putting the jersey in and promoting that stuff. If it wasn't for him, he's the one that signs off on that stuff. Yeah. That's the whole point of a commissioner. He ain't paying LeBron the millions. No. It's not his money. He's just the one that's making sure it's all. He wants to see the game build. Yeah. And here's another guy I'll shout out. A lot of people don't know this. They're basketball fans. We would not be having the stars we have, like Joel Embiid, a lot of players from Serge Ibaka, a lot of players from the Republic of Congo, Northern Africa. If it wasn't for Dikembe Mutombo, and it's not because Dikembe Mutombo was this huge star, which he is, Hall of Fame player. It wasn't because of that. They just saw him play, and I want to be a basketball player. He's the reason why the NBA is involved in Africa. That's the reason there is these training centers. They're all around the world, but that's why the NBA is going over. And they'll have the USA like rookies playing against these African, and that's why these guys are coming over. And Dikembe Mutombo, he's got a position, and I don't know his actual name of his position, but it's with the NBA, and he's like a world director, a world leader,
like an
ambassador. Great, that's a great word. And I think that is what's fantastic about the league, is because not only did you take a player that had his own brand of no, when he blocked it and all that, he's now okay, and that's what I love too. Dikembe could have been like, I got millions, I'm the Hall of Fame, everyone knows me, I'm tall, whatever. Hey, I'm just gonna live on an island, enjoy my life. No, it's like, I want to help other guys that are like me. He knows the story, and that's what I love about the NBA and all these leagues, is when they use veteran players to better the league, and when the veterans actually care. The veterans have it all. They got the money, the fame, the glory. They don't have to do any of that. They can literally live the rest of their lives relax free, but they'll put the pressure and stress themselves because they want to see someone like them get to that level, which I think is cool. So to get into the thing about the thing I want to talk to you about last year to finish up, you've been coaching, Brandon. Yeah. So you coach at Iroquois High School. Iroquois High School is located in Louisville, Kentucky. Let me ask you this. As a coach, and I know that you are in the program, Jeff Morrow runs the varsity. You coach freshman JV. You've been there for years. You've developed these kids gone to college. You've made sure they're safe. I know you care about your kids just as much, just besides basketball, just like we were talking about Adam Silver. But biggest struggle coaching high school kids, and biggest advantage, biggest positive thing that you take away. What's the biggest challenge, and what's the thing that you take away that's made the biggest impact on you over these past years?
I'd say the biggest challenge is coaching high school kids is that you gotta adapt. I think that's the hardest thing, is adapting. I've heard.
Do you ever think back that it's you? Like, do you ever look at a guy and go, man, that's me 14 years ago?
I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. I do that a lot. And the thing is, it's just a different mindset with kids these days. With the distractions that they have with the internet and stuff like that. Like, when me and Tremain grew up, we was in the backyard playing ball, always doing activities and stuff, where these kids are just on the internet and they're taking in stuff that they have no business taking on at an early age.
We grew up in such a great generation where no matter where you're in the hood or non-hood, you played out in the backyard, you played outside, you're playing baseball, football, basketball, anything you could pick up, because that's what to do. There wasn't, besides getting a Game Boy or video game, there wasn't a lot to do. You wanted the people that want to be active be outside, so I totally get that.
I say it's not
a challenging thing for me, but I guess I would say it is in a way. I would say it's a lot of pressure that I put on myself because I have a big responsibility, especially with the young men I coach. Most of them just come from just crazy. I could just go for days. I could go for hours about some of these kids' backgrounds and stories that they have.
Oh, Trevor was only coaching with y'all for a year, and the stories he told me that he learned just in that year.
And this year will be my 8th year, so I've seen so much. But I would say I know I have a responsibility because I might be. In majority of we have one white player on our team.
Yeah.
Majority of our other kids are African American kids. I might be the best example of an African American man that they might ever see. Well, not ever see, but might be seeing right now in this time in their life as high school kids.
And I will say this: I'm not going to speak like I know what their struggle is or know because I'm not black. But I will say this: I've been to a lot of games to support you and others and watch Iroquois. And I can see that. And and the kids that are watching the game, they're goofing around, not giving a shit. And I think too, I've seen like parents and like staff at Iroquois that are at the game. Hey, shut up! Hey, keep it down. Nobody wants to hear that shit. I think what you're doing is you're molding these guys and being a leader, and you're showing them because people don't realize it's tough. It's tough.
To give y'all, to give both of y'all a prime example of what I go through.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I had a player found his dad dead in his house. 2 weeks ago, I had a player found his dad dead in his house. Like he walked into his dead.
Fuck.
So, as a coach, I gotta be prepared for stuff like that. Like I have to be there for them, and that's tough. Because with these kids, they ain't thinking about basketball. Most of my kids, it's supposed to be a way out for them, but they got so much stuff going on that they can't think about basketball.
Well, people don't realize
they be thinking about like what my little brother's doing at home. Because some of them, their parents is all over the place. Their little brothers might be at home.
Well, people don't realize too. It's like they might be at practice for 3 hours. They might be at a game for a couple hours. But once the bus drops them off, it's survival mode. It's life mode. Basketball's out the window. It's not like Brandon. They're not going to call you up at 11:45. Hey, Brandon, the microwave went out. No, there's like a lot of battles.
It's some crazy stuff like I have to deal with. Like that's been one this summer so far that I've had to deal with. But it's the responsibility that it's a lot of pressure on me, but I accept it because through sports, I've learned how to, accept pressure and take it on as a challenge. So, but I have to keep my mind stable. Yeah. I have to keep my own self stable to deal with them because it's complete. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Because it's one of those things where you're like, also too, you're like, man, because I know me and you, we both go through struggles every day. We're adults. We're men. Life throws you struggles, but you and I are probably, when we see and hear these things, we want to be there. But also too, we're like, I'm trying to put myself in that position, and it's like it's so tough. And like, another perfect example talking about Iroquois, Trevor. Shout out to Trevor Powell, our buddy. He's over at Wagner now, but Trevor last year showed me, maybe it was 2 years ago. He's teaching at Iroquois, and he shows me a music video.
Yeah. And
it's not a basketball player. It's not like that. It's some kid and about 5 of his friends. The house where they shot the video is literally 0.5 miles from the school. Picture that. And I'm watching the video, and all these kids are not seniors. They're under juniors, sophomores. All have AKs, have handguns, machine guns, all this stuff, and they're rapping.
With laser beams on them.
And here's the thing: they're pissing on their ops. They're doing the shit that like they do. They're like peeing on the graves of like someone that died, or peeing where someone that got shot. And I'm watching this video, and I'm like, number one, they're taking it from, they're seeing other people do it, like they're seeing what's going on in Chicago, they're seeing, so I get it, you're trying to be cool, the hip-hop thing, I get it, and so I told Trevor, I said, you have to understand that's what it's seeing, but then, like me and Trevor were talking, yeah, that could be a way of putting it, but we really don't know what these guys are going, and also, too, that might look at us like, oh, that's silly, that's stupid, what are you doing, you're dumb. No, that might also be the only way to survive. Like, some of these guys might be forced to do that. Some of these guys might be like, if you don't do this, then they're thinking, oh, somebody can come after me. So people have to realize, like, once they get to the school, that's what's so important about teachers and coaches, because after they leave, it's on them. It's one-on-one the world, and so it's tough. It's tough.
It's and like it's not. I guess I was destined to be in the position I am to coach because
I think you were.
I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I know what it takes because I wasn't a star athlete myself. And I worked hard to get to the position I was at in high school. Of course, I ruined my career by following girls, and trying to, stay with my girlfriend.
If we all did not focus on girls, we'd probably be a lot bigger.
But
girls are girls. Women make the world go.
I didn't have no.
It's inevitable.
Especially when you don't have no true guidance.
Yeah, if you don't have no guidance, you don't have nobody.
I didn't have no true guidance at that age.
Bro, our senior group, dude, that's all we were doing was chasing chicks. That whole summer before college, that's all I did.
I seen all of that, so I'm prepared for everything they're gonna do. Ain't kind of new. The stuff they do is not new.
Yeah.
It's not new. It's not new, but it's that their mindset is different. I could go out and party the day before a game and still go ball the next day at that game.
But let me ask you this though. Even though
they can't do that.
Even though they look up to you, they respect you, and you are a powerful figure at the school and everything like that. Does any guy that's on your team look at you and be like, man, you don't know what I'm going through? But they don't realize you have been that.
Listen. I work at the school, and I'm a teacher and instructional assistant, and I work with behavior disordered kids every day. Yeah. I didn't ask to be in that position, but it was either that or be an MSD. MSD is where you work with the medical needed kids where they're in wheelchairs. I can't do that. I don't want to sit down there and look at a kid in a wheelchair every day and I feel sorry for them.
You have kids, and so it's emotionally affecting
you.
I
don't want to do that, but I deal with this behavior disorder kid. You want to know why? Because I was him. I did have a whole lot of chaos going on in my life when I was young, so I can relate to him. I don't want to. I'm used.
Yeah,
I'm like kind of. Shoot, I done had death in my family. I had somebody get murdered, so I can relate to some of them.
And I think they know too. I think the great thing about you is once they get to know you, anybody, adult or kid, they not only realize who you are as a character and person. That's just because both of you guys are great guys. But I'm saying, you personally, Cason, I think they learn too. Hey, this guy's been through some stuff, and he has something to teach. And I think that's what just keeps gaining you more respect and respect. Now, what would you say is the best blessing you've had in these past few years? Like, not only you're just molding men to be better, but, just fun? I mean, have you just been having fun?
I don't think it's fun. Like, it's fun. Of course it's fun, but I don't think
it's about that.
Look, man, when you have a player who never played basketball before and everybody's kicked off didn't want no more or cut, and I can take this player and I can make him into at least a decent basketball player by the time he's done. And I've had a kid that was like 5'6", really short. He was one of the leading scorers in Kentucky, and I remember telling him, just because you're short don't mean you can be a good player.
See, and
the kid ended up getting a full ride to Campbellsville.
Yeah.
So, I get to mold these kids who, when I listen to what I say, who never played basketball before, and then they come to high school and they're playing high school basketball. That, to me, in itself, is the beauty. I love it.
And that's what I love about...
I love it.
And I love about sports in general, and we've said this now like probably 3 or 4 times, it just brings so many people different together, and you're also, too, you might be growing up in different areas, but these guys that are just starting playing organized ball, they're competing against guys that have played organized ball because they've had more opportunities, but then you're like, this dude's just as good, and he's only been doing it for a few years, and then you think in your mind, kind of back to like the what if on the Void trade, what if this dude did play organized ball since he was 5? What if this dude did have money? What if he did have Jordans every year? That kind of deal. And so it also, too, a lot of times, I've noticed as well, there's guys that are in positions that are blessed and great and have a great childhood, maybe didn't have struggles, and they don't take advantage of it. Then you have guys that are shitty, but then you have people like you, Coach Morrow, people at Iroquois, Gaggle, all these, or Trevor, anybody that was at Iroquois trying just to help a kid, not just because of basketball, like put basketball away, just to help a man become a man. You have to realize those kids also have to take advantage as well, that there's someone out there for guidance. They might not be used to guidance, but you have to realize, like, they might look at, why the fuck's this guy want to help me? But then you got to think in your mind, hey, I got to take advantage of this. But it's the same thing with these kids that have it.
They don't realize it at first. They don't realize it at first. I've had to bump heads with a lot of kids at first until the kid don't.
They're not used to it.
They don't know you care until they know you care. Until they see you care. So you got to put some. You can't just say I love you. You got to show them. Like I go out of my way.
Tough love.
I go out of one. Here's the thing though. I wasn't Coach Morrow. He showed us tough love, but I realize now that I got to really like put my arm around some of these kids and really show them I love them because they ain't getting it. Their daddies ain't telling them that. Their daddies might not be there, and then but they not hearing it at home.
See, that's what I like. But I'm glad that you. I'm glad that you see that, and I think everyone at the Iroquois Coach Bro sees it, and I think these other schools that have these situations see it. But some coaches they don't care. They view it as, this kid's on my team, he's going to do it my way, it's going to be my way or the highway. But then there's some coaches that have to adapt, and I think every coach has been successful. NBA, college, pro.
You gotta adapt.
You have to adapt.
It ain't easy.
That's part of any life. Right. You got to adapt. If you're thrown in jail, if you're thrown in into a game, if you're thrown into going to the store and you're going... Anything you got to adapt to it if you don't know.
Coach K made a remark in his press conference. He said, adapting ain't the reason why I'm retiring. I disagree with him. Because now he's been doing something for so long and then you walk away from it. That's got to be difficult. And you say the reason is because but look at his past couple of teams. Mm-hmm. They haven't done that well. And it's newer kids. Mm. And I think he's so old school in his way. He's like, I don't have to, which is what I heard a lot of older coaches say. A lot of older coaches say this: I'm too old to change my ways.
Mm-hmm. And see, here's the thing, though. I don't like that because...
And Coach K, from what I heard back then, Coach K was tough. But now he's like this...
But see, there's kids...
Relaxed coach, and it could be hurting Duke.
Yeah, I mean, see, but here's the thing, too. Like, we experienced this in high school. Not just talking about Morrow. Yeah. How many coaches, Coach Branch, have been there for 20 years, 10 years, at the same Ballard's coach. Yeah. Ballard's coach been there for 15, 20. Marty Balin. Yeah. Rest in peace, Marty Balin. He's been in the coaching thing. Adapt. But they're able to adapt, and the thing about it, too, is you either have to or you get... Like Coach Klein. Coach Klein, another one. Kevin Klein. He's been at Wagner. Yes. He's always adapted. He's at a private school now. He did public school. He even was messing with Hanover College. But here's the other deal with coaches. Also, talking about an old coach not being able to adjust, I think, too, not only can they not adapt or adjust, it's a lot of these guys, they say they don't want to change or be old school, but it's because they're hard-headed. Yeah. And I think, too, a lot of times coaches, too, don't realize it's time to give it up. And I'm not saying they need to quit or give up, but I think it's time they have to either change their ways or adjust. But I think a lot of guys, too, the crazy thing about it is the practices that you and I went through, the practices that a lot of guys that went through at our age, I don't think they could. I don't think that can be going through that.
And I can tell you this too,
because of how tough it is.
Because I'm under Coach Morrow now, and you play for Coach Morrow, and Coach has been in the game for 20-some odd years. He'll be going on year 23 next year. I know this.
He's the perfect college coach.
I'm comfortable enough saying this on this
high school and college.
Because he's like my dad. I can say what I want, and it won't offend him. But he's at the end of his career. He's got probably maybe 2 years left in him. But I'm taking over when it's all said and done. He's told me, I'm too old to change my ways, but one day you're going to run this program the way you want to. So guess what? My job is to take the good stuff from him,
his ways,
and then mix it with my ways, which he's fine with.
And here's the thing I'll say about Morrow too. I played for him. He has his faults. Clearly, he's got tons of faults.
Yes.
And the thing about it, there's things about him I couldn't stand when I played for him. But there's also things I saw the good in him.
Right.
I played fantasy football with him for a few years here recently. We've always been cool.
Yeah.
We're still friends on social media. He's taken me to games. He's taken me out to eat.
Yeah.
Dude's a good dude. Has a good heart. And here's the thing: the older you get, the more mature you get, and you realize he wasn't doing it just to be a cocksucker and yell at me and belittle me. He was doing it to make me better. And to be honest, too, there's some things I'm like, he probably should have did this differently. Yeah. But then I look at it and I'm like, well, actually, he did this right, and he did have success. So I completely agree with you from the standpoint of, and I think you'll be great taking over, and congratulations, and I think you do deserve that. But I think, too, he's been doing it the same way and having success no matter what level. So that's why he's such a good coach. But at the same time, I think Coach Morrow also realizes we're just in a different world, and we're in a different. And it doesn't matter if you're Iroquois, Fern Creek, Seneca, or you're at freaking Atherton High School, which is in a rich Highland neighborhood. And you're trying to mold kids, and there's social media. It's just a different world, and I think there's better. I think we at our time. There's future stars. There's huge players now. You got Tatis in baseball. We just talked about all the NBA rookies, but I still, and I'm not just saying it because I lived it and I'm 31, but you go back to high school, middle school, when we went, way better games, way better athletes, better players. Yeah. You're only getting one or two mega stars. You got a few guys that can hoop, get some threes up, but it don't matter what school. It's not the same. And some things stay the same and some things don't. And this is not to discourage you from coaching. No, you're going to make it into how you want. But the great thing about you is you got to live it and play it and experience, but you're sitting there watching, and you might be 15 years in as Iroquois coach, and you've won titles, whatever, but you're sitting there and you're like watching practice one day, and you might have an assistant coach for your roster that's just a teacher, and he's pissed off because Jamal snapped at him or said, "I'm on Facebook, bitch," or something, and you call the coach over and you're like, "Listen, it's different. It's different." And I think that's where you have to. I think that's where you're gonna see it, and I think that's where Morrow also. Morrow
has seen it.
He's seen it.
And that's why I give him credit.
Or any coach has seen
I give him credit about not. Because I believe deep down in Coach K, his thing is I think he's tired. And instead of people telling him you can't adapt, he's like not going to come forward and say that out of his own mouth and say, I can't adapt with these kids I'm getting out of the game.
Yeah.
But Coach Morrow has said, I can't adapt. Like, I'm not changing my ways for no teenager. Mm-hmm. So instead of him saying, I'm tired and I'm leaving because I'm tired, he's like, I'm going to keep going. But I'm leaving because if my time's up, here go the torch.
And the thing I think that a lot.
But he's admitted it. I'm having trouble adapting. Well, you won't hear these big time coaches say
like a change is inevitable.
Because it's a pride thing.
Yeah, and we don't see it or hear it. These are like personal conversations. Yeah. But deep down, if you've played ball, you've experienced, you've been through it. You just know. They don't have to admit it.
Yeah, they don't have to admit it.
And I think that's why Roy Williams had health issues. He had major health issues. Yeah. But I think he just needed better
help. He couldn't figure it out. He kept saying, I'm getting talent. Like, I got to get more talented players. But why you can't get talented players in North Carolina?
Think about it. Here's another perfect example. I think Coach Cal. Think about Coach Cal. He's the best recruiter in college basketball. But the guy, I think he mows players. He's had huge stars, but shit, we just talked about Devin Booker. Coach Cal got Devin, but thing about Coach Cal is he hasn't had the best success here recently, and also too, I think Coach Cal sees it as well as it's all about landing that talent, and that's why Zion was so big. That's why all these guys are so big. It's because he's looking at he's trying to adapt, but again, any industry or way of life. This is a lesson I learned back in college when I did audio and music. I was always told audio and music industry would change every 5 years. And if you're going to get in this era, just be ready for that. Yeah. Now, after the past decade of everything I've experienced, good, bad, the ugly, everything does change 5 years. Yeah. Yeah. People that I used to kick it with are completely different people now. The jobs I used to do, cultures, in some places I've left have gone to shit. Some places have been better. I was at Leo Weekly 5.5 years. I saw the culture writing on the wall. I was the same person, put the same energy, the same effort, and that's why I felt like the paper was so successful when I was there, because of how much work and energy I put into it. But I was seeing the writing on the wall, and if you don't see the writing on the wall, or you don't admit it's time, because here's the thing about coaching. Just like Brad Stevens, maybe coaching's done. Not saying for Brad, but I'm talking about for other guys. Like Brad's now in a role. That there's other roles for you to do, AD, different things, and that's where people have to realize. I need to stop coaching or stop playing at this point, and then let me try to achieve something in a whole nother role. And
in the same area, but
same sport, same culture, same people. But I might bring something better that I'm not doing here. Like I could probably land that kid, do a contract with him. But I know this coach who's 20 years younger, who is a little bit more laid back than me and is not as stickler. He's just gonna get cool with this guy.
That's just like you said about Adam Silver. I'm Adam Silver. I'm just waiting.
You are, you're the Adam Silver of Iroquois High School.
I respect Coach, and
you're Adam Silver of Iroquois High School.
I study him, and then but like I respect him and I study him. And,
but if you didn't,
have better ideas.
But I'm not saying you wouldn't know how to, but you wouldn't know. How to run a proper practice if it wasn't for him showing.
Like, he's showing me in and outs and everything. Like I tell people think I'm joking around when I say this, and Nick probably testified to it, that I could accept a school right now and probably run my program better than some of these other coaches.
And to be honest with you, I think I've told Trevor about this. There's a lot of schools that you probably could go and either in a year probably take over or
we've beat teams just by simply strategizing, not our players, because sometimes more likely we the underdogs in most games because our kids are just not super. Like we got kids that are street ball players who never played basketball before, but they're good street ball players. But they never played basketball.
I'll be honest with you,
and we got some who never played basketball before, but when they get about juniors and seniors, they some good high school players because they put in the time.
A game that I watched and I'll never forget. I went to. It was actually Trevor's last game he ever coached. It was Iroquois versus Western in the district tournament.
We beat them.
And I drove out to Doss. To watch. And
no, we lost that year.
No, you lost that year. You lost that game. But the thing about it was a close game. But the thing about it was I'm watching. Even you all are down. Trevor's at the end of the bench. I knew at that point because I talked to Trevor all the time. He was more checked out. He's getting away from basketball. You're focused. You're talking the team. You got Morrow. Y'all are still coaching, trying to win, trying to come back. And this is nothing. This is not like every game, but there's literally like 8 fans in the stadium. This is like a weird time. It's like 4:00 right after school on a Tuesday in Dawes, and I'm working at Leo. I make my own schedule. I'm like, I'll drive out there, watch them. I go out there. I'm sitting in the corner. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? But then I'm watching. And Western's coach, they're just sitting there. Like, all right, like it's a struggle just to get the guy off the bench to go in, and you can see, and it's like, even though Western won, it's just because it's a player, like an effort, better player. But it's not because of the coach. And it's the same thing when I went out to Valley, and I'm watching you all on the Invitational where they hosted now, and you all were playing Valley, and there was a kid from Valley. I'm watching you all. You're in the middle of the layup line. Gagel's at the part of the program at that point too, and you all are under the basket, and you all are doing that, and you're talking to the kids, and you're like, "Hey, do this," or you might be like kind of checking them or like trying to guard them. I'm watching the Valley guys. They're down there just shooting the shit at the half court watching, and there's this kid for Valley that's doing the goofiest spin moves, and he's like throwing it back, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
It's just like now I would say this in high school sports is coaching for 8 years. That you get some of these coaches need to give credit to their players more, because now I see a lot of just players winning games from coaches. It ain't a lot of I knew that last year we played Western and they was really good. They got a really good team. But this having a veteran
no school
coach,
doesn't get a lot of love.
Western is very good, and they're gonna be very good again this year. But
people don't get Western love.
Strategy, because of our strategy, we only end up losing the game by 4 points. When they beat us almost by 30 the first time we played them. But that's coaching.
It's coaching. And here's the other problem. A lot of these schools, like Western, for example, perfect example of Western. I'm not saying this is a situation in Western, but I'm saying, though, at any school, you got Morrow. Morrow has the people in line in the place. Yeah. But you go to another school, it might be where the principal sends an email out to everybody. Who wants to coach this year? We got I need help. And it's some guy that teaches how. He's like, well, I'm coaching my son's YMCA team. I'll coach. Yeah. He gets there. All they're doing is layup lines, basic plays. And to be honest, I'm watching these games. Half the time I go to an Iroquois game, you all are running plays. There's no play calling on the other team. There's not even a press. And I sit there and I'm watching and I'm like, these kids have no idea.
We might lose, we might get a bad rep because that's just how the history of Iroquois has been. But
except for the women,
I had a friend that recently we played. It was his first year at Butler, and we played them last year. And he comes up to me after the game. He goes, "Hey man," he said, "Y'all ain't what everybody says y'all are. Y'all pretty good. Y'all not what people say y'all are. Y'all wasn't no push.
Not a joke. Not a joke.
So it's a lot.
And I think too, it's where it's just it's just it's culture. Like you got to put a culture into place. You got to put a foundation into place. But yeah, I mean, it's just main thing with the high school level and just playing in general and just sports. It's just like another industry. It's just gonna keep changing, and two, I think that's what's great about life and fun about life is that no matter what, you gotta adapt. I mean, you get a call from your girl, hey, I'm pregnant, or hey, we're about to buy a house, and now I'm not renting. Any of those situations, you got to be able to adapt. So basically, I want to tell Brandon and Tremain, thank you so much. This episode has been so much fun. I had a total blast. This episode too is a little bit different than a lot of them. Not really plugging anything,
it was all over the place.
This was just stories of fun.
I knew it was gonna be like that.
And here's the thing about Tremain. Tremain's name is Tremain Wilson. Tremain Wilson. You can reach out to him on Facebook locally. Great guy. You have Brandon Cason. Go watch him coach Iroquois. Go out and support. Brandon's on Facebook as well. They also have the Built to Last podcast on Facebook, so you can go to that. And thing about it is this, with these guys, a lot of the episodes, a lot of times, I'm trying to teach somebody something crazy or plug some product or brand or something they're working on. But with this, we're plugging the basketball in the nature of that, but also too, we're just plugging in general, just great story. This was just stories. And also to kind of teach, I feel like there's a lot of life lessons and and this was just fun. This was a great flow. So I want to tell both of you guys, thank you so much again. I want to thank everybody that has been listening. Again, we're trying to get this Asia, South America. We've hit every other continent. I'm really excited about the future of this podcast. I got episode 17 coming up. Still working on some guests, moving around, scheduling. But I just think this episode was fantastic, and I hope everybody enjoyed. But again, you can reach out to me, vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com, Vibing with Sleazy the podcast on Instagram, Vibing with Sleazy the podcast on Facebook. I'm always reacting to fan mail. I can't thank everybody enough that's shown love and sent positive words or encouragement. That's why I keep doing it. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for fame. I'm just doing this to put content out. And I love everybody that's gotten behind it. So thank you. And hopefully one day maybe it does make me some money and fame. And if it does, that's just a blessing. But right now I'm having fun. And Brandon, Tremain, hope you all have a great week. And we are out. Peace.
Appreciate it. Thank you.